Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 382 of Spittin Chiclets, presented by Pink Whitney from our friends at New Amsterdam Vodka here in the Barstool Sports podcast family. What is going on, gang? We just had the biggest goal-scoring weekend ever in NHL history. Middle fingers seem to be all the rage this week, and we have fewer than 2 weeks to go for the NHL playoffs. But first, we check in with the fellas per usual. Producer Mikey Grinelli, what's the word, my man?
The word is relaxing. I had a nice relaxing weekend back home in Boston this weekend. Actually got to go see a nice Bruins game, big win. Shout out to our friends at Game Time app. But it was a nice relaxing weekend already. Just got to see some friends and family.
Yeah, a little Easter activity going on. Paul, Biz Nasty, Bissonette, did you do anything to celebrate Easter? I know you don't have kids. It's not a big deal when you don't have little ones like myself.
Despite what's going on in the sports world, I would agree, G. I had a very relaxing weekend. Been consistent with the trainer, been doing a lot of breathing exercise. So yes. I'm in a Zen-like state coming into this one. So my hot takes will be on fire. Not as usual. Actual good hot takes this pod.
Nice. And last but not least, the Wit Dog, Ryan Whitney. How was your Easter? You got the little ones. It's a little special day for you, I'm assuming.
Oh, it was phenomenal. It was great. We were at my mother-in-law and my father-in-law's house. We'll get into my father-in-law and my brother-in-law a little bit later in the episode. But it was awesome. There's like 20 kids there to do the big Easter egg hunt where they're running around. It was nuts, right? Like these kids are going bananas. I stick a couple 20s and a couple special eggs, then I really hide the shit out of them. Yeah, of course. Ryder found one of them. Ryder found one of them, put it right back in my pocket. Obviously, I was like, Ryder, go get that one in the tree. So basically, I only put 120 out there. The thing is, the night before, so I was in Naples. I flew down Wednesday morning, Thursday, Friday, flew Black Friday night, played a little golf. So then Saturday night, we're getting, all the stuff ready. Like my wife brings out the Easter egg stuff, like the Easter basket. I walked downstairs. I said, are you kidding me? It was like, there's toys and fucking, is this Christmas? What is going on right now? I was ripping stuff out of the baskets. This is enough's enough. You can't be making these kids think that Easter's going to be like Christmas part deux.
Agreed.
I was like, but she's like, well, we're not giving them candy. They'll have so much candy in the eggs. Now, one thing we did get Ryder, he's been begging to go fishing, so we grabbed him a fishing pole. Very funny. I don't know how to fish. I literally do not know how to fish.
You don't have the patience to fish?
I'm not a fisherman. I just can't even. I wouldn't even know how to
cast.
Exactly.
You get seasick too, don't you?
Big seasickness guy, big time. But then, there's other stuff. There's like baseballs, all the sports stuff, puzzles. I'm like, this is Easter. This is about the resurrection of Christ. Is that what happened on Easter?
You're asking the wrong.
Or is that Christmas?
No clue.
Okay.
I don't make a big fuss. I don't make a big fuss about Easter either.
I'll tell you though, the worst part of my week was on the flight down. I had one of those instances where it's just a full out like warfare for the armrest in the plane. And this guy was running my show. Like enough where I said, hey, dude, like one behind, one up front. You know how it works. And he's like, some big gross guy. I just can't believe people like somebody goes in front, somebody goes behind. You can switch back and forth. But for you to take up the entire armrest with your forearm, talk about being in an Easter spirit. I'm friggin' pissed off even thinking about it again right now. Made my whole 3-hour flight disgusting. I got this guy absolutely running my show. He stunk like shit, and I had a mask on, and he's elbowing me in my forearm. So I don't even want to talk about it. I know I just brought it up, so what am I even saying? But still, once the golf began and I got home and enjoyed the weekend, it was a lot of fun.
I thought you were going to say you were on that plane with a guy singing the Jesus songs with the guitar. That's nightmare fuel. Did you see the clip on Barstool?
I saw it. Yeah, I don't know what to believe.
How is that allowed?
Because the lady milking the cat, I fell for that one. Then you guys told me that wasn't real.
Oh, I fell for the giant bird.
I wasn't falling for the giant peacock.
Yeah,
I also fell for like Giroux getting benched, which apparently he never got benched. Like. And people come at me, you idiot. Like, listen, dude, if you friggin' tweet something and I read it, like, you got me. Sorry. I mean, it's really hard to really know what's true and fake on the internet these days. And maybe I'm getting real old and I'm one of those okay boomers. But like, oh, you got me. Sweet. I did think that 6-foot bird was really true, though. I thought that was a big time emotional bird support animal.
If it's a fake Gritty account, it might be fake Whit.
Biz.
Yeah.
So Zen, like, is it more just like a total relaxation of the mind and the body?
Yeah, I think it's just being extremely present and
yes.
Yeah, not living in the past or the future, or at least that's kind of what I assume I'm doing it correctly. And just really focusing on deep breaths, making sure all of it's getting out. You're not holding in that, in stress or whatever it may be. And I would say throughout the day, I find myself holding my breath constantly, and it's negative. And on top of that, I also, I kind of hyperextend.
Get that chest out, baby.
Yeah. I hyperextend my back a little bit too much. So therefore I'm compressing my joints, especially in my lower back. So I'm trying to sit a little bit more under my pelvis. So it takes work, because years over years of bad posture, you kind of get addicted to just activating those same muscles. So I'm really trying to make it reset it all and make it all work. It's like hard to talk about on the podcast because some people like might just naturally do that. And they're like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? But in my case, and also the hockey stride's a very unnatural position, like athletic position, right? So you're developing all these posterior chain muscles, and maybe over time things become unbalanced. But what he explained to me, he's like, no, it makes total sense, because he says good athletes are the ones who are able to overcompensate and find ways to still do it, like, even though it's like, maybe not firing exactly the same, right? We're kind of very in tune with our body. So yeah, I'm just trying to like more so do it so I'm not living in constant pain or even like stress, and just kind of get everything working again, and ultimately to get in way better shape.
So I saw because my posture, right, it's gotten worse and worse, where I'm gonna a hunchback thing I'm afraid of. So I'm trying to get shoulders back, maybe a little more strength in the abs. So I saw this posture chiropractic, and they gave me this thing. Look at this thing that I sit on now. It's in my car too. Look at this thing. So as opposed to sitting with like my knees above my hips, if that makes any sense. Now I sit on this. Bam! It's like Emerald the chef when I sit down. But about 2 weeks ago, no, it was before the golf trip, it was last week. I had an appointment like I'd made 3 weeks prior, but I was feeling great. Remember I was telling you guys how good I was feeling? And I was like, I have this chiropractor appointment with the posture chiropractor. I was like, I got to go over there. And as I'm leaving, Bree's like, you feel great. You just told me you feel great. Why would you go over there? And I was kind of like, oh, she's right. But like, I don't know. I made the appointment. I went over. She fucked my neck up. Can you believe that? I hadn't felt this good in years. I'm feeling happy. I got energy, and boom. I was like, just leaving. I go, I think you just hurt me. She's like, no, that wasn't me. I'm like, who do you think it was? The ghost in the room that just adjusted my neck? So I'm just getting back from that, and the golf and the drinking down there didn't help. But overall, I'm still with you, Biz. Breathing.
But then all of a sudden your neck's off a little bit, and then you overcompensate halfway down the back, and then a little bit on one hip, and then next thing you know, like you can barely fucking walk. All right. So I guess enough about the realignment, but it's also partly, as I mentioned, to get back in shape for Chicklets Cup, because 3 days of boozing and then not necessarily being in shape going into that A division ball hockey, I underestimated it a little bit. Like that nose face killer was just wheeling up and down, and his conditioning was there. And you could tell, like, by the end of the week, he was probably getting fucking IVs and getting rubbed out in his room and shit, because he's so hardcore about the ball hockey, where, me, Terry, Ryan, and crew, like, we were going out till fucking however late in the, we were going RA hours. We were going deep. But Buffalo, obviously I'm going to need a full security team as well. We'll get into that later. But also, I got to be in a lot better shape. I got to be in that Zen-like state, early bedtimes, not much boozing, and then when I hoist that Chicklets Cup. And by the way, Noseface Killer, I'm off social media a little bit right now. He did DM me and say he needs to talk to me. I don't know what about. There is a rumor that he may not be able to make it to Buffalo. Don't know why. Don't know what the excuse is quite yet. Maybe he heard I was working with the trainer again and he's shitting bricks, but I will get back to on everyone about Chicklets Cup, but I'm still amped up for Buffalo. All right. You are going to be bringing the heat there as well. I don't know what you're coming in with, but Buffalo, we are amped up and ready, and the big deal selects will be primed and ready.
Quickly. Noseface owes me a new phone. Noseface Killer owes me a new phone. Somebody tweeted me a picture of him when he's like 8 years old, and I threw up all over the phone, and it's broken.
Come on, man. You can't. That's rude.
He owes me. Noseface, I'm out there. I'm looking for you.
Guys, real quick, speaking of Chicklets Cup, registration for Buffalo next Wednesday, April 27th at noon Eastern time. You can register for the Chicklets Cup. So get in early, get the boys together, and let's have some fun out in Buffalo.
I hire the same VO2 max guy as the 14 Peaks. That's my new guy. I'm gonna get fucking Lance Armstrong.
I think he was born
VO2
like that
max.
though. That dude.
I'm whatever. I'll take any type of supplements. I'll do whatever that fucking college goalie was doing. I don't care. I'll do whatever it takes to win the Chicklets Cup. All right, you could shove the needles in my ass.
All right, what the fuck did you do this weekend?
Let's see.
Like literally.
No, literally Friday night. I stayed in and wrote. Actually, it's funny, man. I wish writing and blogging was a switch you could just turn on and do instead of like getting like fucking struck with lightning of inspiration. But yeah, I stayed in and wrote Friday. Let's see. Saturday just hung out. Saturday night had a couple beers, took it easy. Had like 3 or 4 beers, and then Sunday I had a nice family dinner. I know Easter's not really a big deal. I don't have kids, but it was actually nice. I had a dinner with my siblings and my parents, which kind of funny. I've said before on the show plenty that my parents split up when I was still in diapers. So, both my parents got remarried, and they're both like, well, my dad's a widower. My mom's a widow now. They have been for a while. Well, my mom has. So now I have actually these family dinners, which I really didn't have as a kid. So it's kind of nice later in life having. Yeah, it really is. Cause like, I don't, like, not like overshare, but I mean, I don't remember having family dinners as a kid because I was too young, or we weren't together too long. So now later in life, it's actually really nice to have my own dad and my brother and sister and have these things, these dinners we didn't have as a kid. So it's nice. I'm old enough to appreciate it and enjoy it. And so yeah, that was about it. Had some dinner. Had a little.
RA's going to go on this massive run. He's got Shorzy. He's going to be like Tarantino writing these fucking scripts. What did you write on Friday, RA? Have you shared it with the world yet?
Yeah, no, I had started it early in the week. The Winning Time Lakers show we've been talking about on this show for the last few weeks, the one that Whit didn't like the first episode of. I started it early in the week, which I do often. I'll start and then I'll finish it later. I posted that Saturday, and then the first story we're going to get to as well. I blogged that, but I'll save that for when we get to the story first. So yeah, I did a little bit of writing. If you didn't cover hockey, would movies and television be the next thing in line, RA? No, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, on my blogger page, like that's what I'm the Bruins /TV movie pop culture guy. One more TV movie. So yeah, I mean,
imagine that family dinner too, Biz. Like they were probably like it was like the 80s. Like they're probably talking about Seinfeld episodes. Like if you went back and watched the dinner, you don't know what year this is going on. Like this could have been 87 or 2022, right? All right. Like I'm sure you're talking about stuff that is all over the map.
Yeah, no, I was actually kind of, my stomach was a little funky yesterday, so I was a little chill for my standards yesterday. But I was over my dad's the other day, and he actually was like, "Have you ever gone to a doctor about like having something to maybe calm you down a little bit?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, you're about 40 years late on this one." But even when I don't even know, I told the story last week. I got stopped at customs again because after Columbia, I'm on the list now, and the dude was like, "You're kind of fidgety." And I was like, "Yeah, buddy, welcome to my world. Like I'm not taking drugs from
Canada,
buddy.
YouTube page, the
most fidgety human alive."
Yeah, I'm just a fidgety fuck. So, but no, it was a nice weekend, relaxing, and I told Biz, I'm got a lot of energy, raring to go. Can't wait to get cracking on the show here. Actually, we should also mention too. It's another big week, boys. We got another Sandbagger dropping this week.
Oh,
we have.
Bagger.
Oh my goodness,
Biz.
This is a mixed bag of nuts, folks. This is nuts.
This is a different route and a different version of what you've kind of normally seen. I actually watching it thought it was hilarious.
I didn't stop laughing the entire time.
It's like a hodgepodge of, I don't know how to just. It's like basically none of it makes any sense, but by the end it all makes sense. If that makes any sense to all you guys listening, Joe Watson, folks, what is he? 77 years old? G, do you know?
I don't, but I'll look it up for you.
Was he in his 80s, maybe?
I don't know. He threw out his hip during the golf round, but battled through it. 2-time Stanley Cup champion, folks.
Oh, 78 years old.
78 years old. This guy, if I'm moving around like this at 78, I'll be the happiest human being on planet Earth. Maybe if I do business breathing exercises, I'll be there. Fedoric. Then we got Fedoric, who is just maybe the biggest space cadet / smart person I've ever met. He's a little of both, but then on the camera, he was perfect. And then some of the lines that were dropped is when I asked Joe about not being in the Flyers Hall of Fame, and then his answer, like, I'll save it. It's just, I think everyone's really going to enjoy it. It was a cold late November day in Philly, but Lulu Country Club brought the thunder.
Oh man, I want to join there.
Oh, that place is sick.
Like all the people came out afterwards, all the members, and they were so friendly. We went inside afterwards and grabbed some beers. They just rolled out the red carpet for us, and we had a blast. So thank you to everybody at Lulu. And as I said, is Briere not a member there as well? Or maybe they're at a different course nearby, but I think that Briere and company, one of his buddies, they challenged us. So maybe we'll get one with Briere down the road. Maybe not, because he's now back involved in hockey, and I don't know, they got to kind of keep a low profile. But this one, going in, we didn't know the expectations, and it blew us away, and it's got such a different feel. And it was like playing golf with your grandpa. And I will say, I mentioned that Tony Robbins, like Joe Watson's the most positive human. I thought he was fucking with me off the hop.
Yeah, we're such pricks. We're like, this fucking asshole. Meanwhile, he's just being completely genuine.
I'm going to get this motherfucker right with a kidney shot, 78 years old, if he keeps beaking my putts here. But no, it took a turn for the best, and I hope you guys enjoy it. That's coming out Wednesday at what time, G?
6:30 p.m. Eastern time, and you can find that on the Spittin Chiclets YouTube channel.
That's awesome. So everyone, please go to our YouTube, check that out Wednesday night. And my last little teaser of it is that on the third hole, third fairway, some random stranger comes out of nowhere with a completely fully packed bowl and gave it to Biz. So that's what we then had. I was like, when the hell has that ever happened on a golf course? A stranger just showed up with a huge bowl for him to smoke. So
I actually planned that. I found him on Craigslist. Just so I could.
That was Uber X.
Yeah, so you couldn't blame me if we ended up taking a big fat L. So, all right, and if anybody wants to get a little taste of medicine of how much of a space cadet Todd Fedoric is, you and him were vibing hard on the boat. I actually got seasick like you do, Whit, when we did that boat tour. Grinelli organized the whole thing. I forget the name of the boat, but we had a great time, and it was Fridge. It was RA, and it was Donnie Does. And I think Donnie Does was on acid. I think I found out a few months later he was in fact on acid. That's why he was being such a fucking weirdo.
I think half the boat was on acid there.
Oh, great.
You think RA wasn't on acid?
Well, geez, I could
not on the boat.
That could have helped my seasickness, for crying out loud. But I didn't get the memo on the acid, but I was underneath. But check that on the YouTube channel as well to give you guys a little primer for Todd Fedoric, and enjoy the show.
Yeah, it was crazy, dude. He literally handed me his rod, and like there was a fish right on it. It was the craziest time ever. I thought he knew it was on there and was like letting me catch it, but it was just crazy as he handed it to me. The fish hit. That was a fun day, man.
It was for sure on there for like 6 minutes, and then he didn't even realize he handed it over. But anyway, what do we got going?
Well, first we gotta mention our guest. We're gonna bring him on a little later. NHL legend Rick Tocchet, your co-worker Biz. Awesome interview with Toch. You did mention to him he had blocked me on Twitter. He had no idea about it, and Grinelli took a video of him unblocking me on Twitter. I still think I don't think I did anything. I think it might have been accidental or whatever. But
the tweets were deleted. We'll never know. The tweets were deleted.
RA deleted his tweets?
Yep, I got a video of it. I got a video of it all.
Oh my God. I would love to. All right, you wouldn't have deleted the tweets.
Somebody out there's got to have him. Somebody out there's got to have him.
They might have just been cringy. Like, when I first was on Twitter, I'm going 10 fucking years ago. Yeah, I definitely had like cringy tweets, but I don't think I said anything offensive to him.
I'll say this, though. You interacted with him a lot on Twitter. Like, it was weird how much you guys were tweeting at each other back like 10 years ago.
Yeah, he answered. Yeah, he was answering like a lot of like direct questions. Like I was asking him, did he knock this former teammate out and stuff like that? All these sort of rumors, stuff I wouldn't do now. But I don't know. I think when Twitter first
tweeted
started,
him, he goes, "Is Adam Oates a better passer than Wayne Gretzky?" And he fucking blocked.
And he finally blocked him when he's like, "Hey, I'm outside your apartment. Want to grab a cheesesteak?"
He lifted the restraining order too, RA.
Oh, that's good. Good to know. He let me within 50 feet of him for the interview. Well, anyways, boys, like I said in the intro, less than 2 weeks for the puck playoffs. The hoop playoffs are already here. So you're going to want to make sure you're stocked up on the old Pink Whitney because the postseason can get a little antsy for you. But if that's not your thing, then stop by your local bar to enjoy it as a chilled shot or top it off with some club soda. However you take it, enjoy the 5 times distilled vodka infused with fresh pink lemonade flavor. Pink Whitney. Get some of that stuff. Do you guys have any Pink Whitney for Easter?
I had a little bit over the weekend.
I had a big old glass on the rocks on Easter. I drink it straight on the rocks. I think it's phenomenal. People say to me, "Oh, it's not good." I'm like, dude, I don't care if you don't think it's good. I think it's phenomenal. And I actually love with it on the rocks. Once the ice melts a little bit, it's kind of on the water, but not too much water.
The greatest bar just got Pink Whitney, and it was flowing on Saturday for the game. All 4 floors stacked with Pink Whitney. So if you're in Boston,
it only took them 2 years since the drink came out to get it.
They were a little late, and it's embarrassing, but they were a little late on it.
All right, now we're buzzing in there though.
Better late than never. Better late than never. All right, Biz. I just said the other thing I blogged Saturday. This hilarious story from the last week. Minnesota Ryan Hartman, he flipped off Evander Kane of the Oilers during the game earlier in the week. Wild Oilers game. He ends up getting a $4,250 fine for unsportsmanlike conduct, the maximum allowed under the CBA. A lot of people are like, oh, that's soft. That's soft. It's like, it's not soft. That's the NHL. I mean, if you fucking give the guy a finger, they give you a fine. Andrew Ferentz did it during the playoffs about 11 years ago. He got a $2,000 fine. So
he did it to the fans, didn't he?
Did it to the fans or did it to the guy in the box?
Either way, I mean, it's a finger during play on ice. I think it doesn't matter whether you're giving it to a player or the fans. I think if it's on camera,
I know, but you just said people were saying it's soft, and that was one of those people was myself. And you're like, oh no, but that's what happens. Don't you think it's soft though?
I don't think it's soft for a league to fine this is their image, man. These are their players. They don't want the guys giving the finger on camera. I'm not surprised at all that. Anyway,
what's wrong with the finger? It's so weird to me. Like, big deal.
I'm not saying I'm personally not offended by it, but I understand why a league doesn't want their fucking players on TV fucking going like that. I mean,
I fucking love it.
I like the emotion.
It's like I mean, in wrestling they give each other the finger.
I'm not like,
I could see getting rid of the throat slash.
Yeah, you can't be throat.
You can't be throat slashing. Like, I'm gonna cut your jugular. All right, yeah, fine. Middle finger. It's just like, fuck you, Evander. Fuck you.
Yeah,
I thought it was awesome.
Not opposed to it.
And I'm an Oilers guy.
I'm not surprised there were fines. Anyways, fans started flooding his Venmo with donations to pay the fine, which is hilarious. We talked about this before, paying professional athletes transgressions like the parking ticket with Marchand. Well, among those who gave money was Kane's ex. She made a $200 donation. Like, I guess it's funny, but I thought it was a little kind of bizarre. Did you think it was a little odd that, like, you're going to give money to pay this fine because the guy told you fucking ex to fuck off?
Yes, it's bizarre. It's petty as shit. It's fucking insane. I mean,
like, not normal behavior.
Yes. This is not normal.
She is not working on her posture and doing breathing exercises.
She is not. Fuck off I'll send her the fucking.
So Hartman comes on Twitter. He says he's overwhelmed. He's like, thanks so much, everybody, but I'm going to pay the fine myself. But whatever you guys donate, I'll donate to Children's Minnesota. It's the local children's hospital in Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Good guy move.
Great guy move. That was Thursday. He sent that tweet out. Friday, he gets up. It's over $20,000. Like, so he's like, holy shit. He essentially doubles his fine. He said, all right, I'm going to put another $4,250 in, get it close to 25. I'm going to keep it open until 7 o'clock tonight. 7 o'clock tonight comes. He had $30,500 just in his Venmo. That doesn't include that donation sent directly to the hospital, which he recommended people do. Obviously, cut out the middleman. It goes right to the hospital. But this is just a great story. It comes out of a middle finger, and guy's pissed off, and $30,000 gets donated to a children's hospital.
If that doesn't tell you how horned up Minnesota Wild fans are for playoffs, they are just raring to go. I mean, as far as the petty bullshit, like, I hate talking about guys' personal lives on the podcast, but like, yeah, it's just. I mean, there's obviously been some rumblings there. Now, is Evander Kane like kind of like the NHL bad boy, most hated guy right now? Is he flourishing in that department? Has he overtaken Tom Wilson?
Yeah, I
would say so. Unless you're an Oilers fan, because he's nasty on the ice. Sorry, the guy's unreal. He's on pace for like 40 goals and 90 points, I think.
Biz, you ever give the finger on the ice? Like,
yeah, 100%. Like, but keep in mind, I think it was in leagues where they had one camera going up top on the catwalk.
They were streaming on somewhere.
Like they had like the blurry video of me with the belt out there. But yeah,
it was Ozzie and Dean.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, RA. It's just like, hey, if you can do it, but we're just going to ching you a little bit. We're going to give you a little pee-pee whack. I mean, I don't think I'd ever seen it to the degree that Kyrie Irving was doing it this weekend, but and I'm sure we'll get to that. But all in all, just I mean, one of those stories that just obviously gets wilder and wilder with the Kane thing and then the donation. So bravo, hockey fans. And this is the type of shit our game needs, especially in this maybe little doldrum of the season. But I say that with all the fact that it seemed like most of the playoff positionings might have been set, but it's like it's scrambled eggs right now. We don't know who's going to be matched up against who. It's going to come right down to the wire. Right when you think Vegas might have things going, they're losing it a little bit. Vancouver's now fucking back in the mix. So hockey's in a great place, and we're getting a little bit of that NBA drama bullshit, sick league type stuff. And I think we need it, and it helps the pod too. I love it.
I think I wonder if Kyrie read the blog and was like, I'm going to cure childhood cancer now, and just because he gave 7,000 middle fingers to the Boston Garden crowd Sunday.
Ching, like getting the rings in Sonic the Hedgehog. Ding, 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 ding.
Just, I mean, obviously an awesome game. The Celtics won with a buzzer beater from Tatum, but like, I mean, what some of your relatives were sitting right there. They actually received one of his
my father-in-law Dave and my brother-in-law Ty were. There's a video of Dave just giving it to him. You can read his lips. He's like, "You baby, you big baby." And then that's right when he did the behind the he was right there, first row. He did, or second row, did the behind the head middle finger bird. But I didn't even realize he did it when he ran out. He did it after he hit it a three. I mean, what the hell is wrong with that guy? Maybe the biggest asshole in pro sports. Realistically, I hope he falls off his flat earth, that fucking idiot. I hate Kyrie Irving. What an unreal player, though. Like, the guy is like a ridiculous talent, but dude, he told some kid to suck his dick walking into the locker room, too. Like, this guy is insane. And he's like talking about how like players are supposed to just listen to the fans yell at him and not say anything back. It's like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, sorry, what?
No, go ahead.
He's the only one doing it. Like, I mean, everybody else is getting yelled at. He's not, like, no one else is saying fuck you or giving the fingers to the fans. These guys hear it in every city. I know once in a while some guys out, but it's a him thing.
Yeah, the finger obviously very excessive. What's the reason for the hate? I don't know
what happened. I mean,
he said he was going to re-sign there and then didn't, which was obviously one of the reasons, but that's probably one of the most hated like returns I've ever seen in pro sports. It was the entire game. They were insulting him. People were yelling more than just "you big baby." They were yelling everything other than racial slurs at him, which that's why I think as an individual, like, I don't know if there's people fucking booing me, I'd be fucking giving him the finger, especially as he was lighting the lamp. It seems like he was thriving and doing well under that type of pressure. Mind you, they ended up losing. Great comeback to get themselves back in it. But I mean, he has to hold himself to a higher standard because he as a professional athlete. But I also don't give a fuck that he was giving everybody the finger for what he was putting up with at that building.
Did he get fined?
He's got to be getting.
Haven't heard yet, but I mean, he's got to get way more than Hartman. I mean,
nothing yet.
200, nothing.
If they don't, and what's weird is I don't know if he. So he said he was going to resign, then he didn't. And then he came back and he stomped on the logo, and then the kid threw the water ball at him. So it's like, if he doesn't understand why everyone in Boston hates him, he's dumber than you already think he is. And the dude thinks the earth is flat, remind you.
Yeah.
So I think he's like a deranged person. I really do. I think he's an insane asshole.
I think he does the flat earth shit to like troll. I don't think he really believes that. I mean, I don't think he's a dumb guy. I think he trolls with the media a lot. But yeah, business, to answer your question, he came here. Dude, everyone loved to get him. I mean, the guy's a superstar. He's talented as hell. And then he said he was going to sign here. And then he did a 180. And then he just started kind of acting like Boston was to blame. And it's like, dude, all we did was like have open arms for you, man. We thought you were going to come here and win with fucking with Tatum and Brown. And like, all right, man, you're the missing piece. And then I don't know, like, you know, he just did a 180 and like started acting like, you know, the fan tail of the asshole. So you know how that goes. People bristle back against them, and then he's just kind of doubled down.
He heard the mayor was going to remove outdoor dining in the North End, so he's like, "Fuck this, I'm getting out of here."
No, I'd side with him on that one.
You don't want outdoor dining in the North End?
No, I'm saying I do. No, I'm saying I would side with whatever side that is. Maybe
he would side with Kyrie if that was the reason he left, but it's not.
Anti whatever the mayor.
Come on, Whit, chill, dog. I thought it was funny when he brought the sage. Didn't he bring the sage into the
that shit? Yeah, and then he's like a child, man. I mean, it's entertaining, but it's like, dude, like nobody else is doing this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I guess when you make 40 sheets, it's like, fuck you. You can do whatever you want. I mean, look at the shit that Harden did. Didn't he just like show up like a blimp to camp? These guys, Ben Simmons, look at the shit that he did. He's still getting paid all of his millions and in a place that he wanted to be more than he was. It's these guys, this league, man.
This league, exactly. I sent this in the outline. I was shocked, dude. It was the Celtics' first ever playoffs buzzer beater at home. 358 playoff games. They never had a home game in the playoffs where they was a buzzer beater where the Celtics won. It seemed like all the titles they won, all the games they won. I was shocked. That was the first time it happened. But
I'll put that in the book I'm writing about the Celtics. That's crazy.
Whit, had you ever been part of a game where a player, home or away, was getting booed that bad?
Yeah. My last few games in Pittsburgh as a Penguin, I would say that I was right there. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I mean, that's beyond anything I've ever seen. But I've never played with somebody. Actually, was I on the no, I wasn't on the team anymore when Cook went to Boston, right? They were giving it to him in Boston after the Savard thing, but I think I was already gone. I don't think I ever experienced anything like that, really.
What about you two? Had you ever been in a building where you're booing someone like that?
I remember Chara used to get it so bad from the Montreal fans for years after the Pacioretty incident.
Oh yeah. When they had to change the dashers into like rounded plexiglass after that incident, they almost killed them.
Bill Lambert, the Pistons biz. I mean, keeping with the Celtics, used to go to the Celtics games all the time. Anytime Detroit was in town, Bill Lambert, probably one of the biggest villains in NBA history.
He was a dirtbag, though, right? If you were going to the hoop, he'd like try to tear your ACL.
So dirty.
It wasn't that bad, but PK Subban used to get it from Bruins fans when he was on the Canadiens. He would get it pretty bad.
Yeah. PK Subban
to the point of where they went overboard one time, right?
He also had probably one of the greatest goals ever when he tied up Game 7 with a rocket as a rookie over Tim Thomas's shoulder. I remember that. That was nuts. And then the Bruins ended up winning that game in overtime, I believe. Right? All right. That was the year they won
Game 7. Yeah.
Horton scored.
Other hated athletes returning anywhere. Yeah, that's tough. Off the top of my head right now, I'm kind of struggling with that. Damn.
Yeah. Also, too, Vancouver, like during the Stanley Cup, when they came in, later in the series, after all the biting and all the shit, like I said, people hated the Bruins before that series. After 2 games, it was like everybody in North America, except for Vancouver, was rooting
Game 3 of that series when the Bruins were down 2-0 and came back. It was when Prime Minister Harper was sitting right next to me at the game. I was like, what? And right next to my buddy Okie. He's like, you don't get a box. And he's like, I like being closer to the action. I'm like, can you imagine Trudeau sitting in here? Somebody strangle him to death.
People be coughing on him and shit.
Got 4 masks on. Back to hockey quickly, because we talked Wild. Tuesday night before I headed down to Naples, I went to the Bees Blues game. And the main thought I had, and by the way, the Blues are 11-0-1 in their last 12, scoring over 5 goals a game. Their PK is 95% in that run. They are unbelievable right now. And then watching Minnesota play, I feel so bad for both of those fan bases, and even more bad for Minnesota in a sense that one of those teams is going to lose in the first round. Oh my God. And I think I mentioned maybe last week that the fact that they're already like set to play, but that is going to be the craziest. And you saw the game that they just had, the 6-5 incredible win by St. Louis after almost blowing the big lead. That is going to be the best first round series. Right now, you heard me say it. I think every game will be close. It's going to be a war. And I unfortunately think right now I'm kind of leaning towards St. Louis. St. Louis has in the middle right now, O'Reilly, Thomas, Shen. What? Those are your 3 centers? So I just kind of thought of the fact that those 2 teams playing each other and how good Minis looked. It's just very unfair that one of those teams has to go home in the first round. But go ahead. All right, sorry.
No, that's all right. No problem at all. Actually, yeah, that was Torrey Krug's first game back in Boston, right? With the video.
Yes. Yes, great video tribute for him. I was talking beforehand about how I think so many people are undeserving of video tributes these days. Could not agree that Torrey really deserved one. He's one of those guys that they had a great run while he was here. He was a very well-liked, not only player, but person in the community. We've interviewed him a bunch. Like, nobody's ever had a bad word to say about Torrey Krug. And then what does he do? He gets an assist on the first goal and then snipes another one right in front of my face. Right now, I was on the glass, unreal seats, but the video was really cool because you kind of forgot, like, Krug came out of college, hopped right in the lineup, sniped on Lundqvist in the playoffs, and never really looked back. I mean, he was just an undersized guy that was so fast, had such a great shot, and then threw the weight around once in a while. That hit on Thomas in the Cup Finals, one of his biggest hits ever.
Man, I was just going to say, I would have bet $50,000 that hit was on that video tribute. It had to have been, no?
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
God, yeah.
Hilarious, too, because it's his teammate. Now, that kid, by the way, on fucking fire.
Holy shit. That kid is sick.
The Blues, they were scuffling not too long ago. People were like, oh, what's wrong with the Blues? And now they're the hottest team in hockey. 12-1-1 the last 14 versus Minnesota. They've beaten them 7 times in a row. But also, we got a note here, Minnesota never had Marc-Andre Fleury before in the playoffs. So
I don't even know if he's going to be starting, though. Like,
yeah, Talbot's been fucking damn good since they did get him. Obviously, the pants.
Now, if playoffs started, I asked you about the Smith one last week. Do you think Husso's getting the net instead of Binnington?
So I would say yes, but Binnington's won his last 3. He's given up 2 goals in each. So he's at least putting that question mark, right, into Chief Berube's head, right? like, Wade, this is the guy I won the cup with. Now he's rounding into form.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
the games are starting to matter. So he's caring a little bit more.
And friggin' Parayko in person it's like he's so big and he's way faster than you think. Like, and then the way that, just like everything about that team, they are a deep team that they don't really need that much. They'll get a chance. Boom. They kind of take advantage of it. I mean, they beat Minnie 6-5 and then they went into Nashville and whooped them, scored 7 goals in the second period, which is the most goals scored in one period in this entire NHL season. There's been the scoring this year is nuts. I'd like to get your guys' opinions on maybe why you think it is this way.
I think that teams and guys are getting fatigued given the backlog schedule and the fact that they are playing later into the year this year just because how everything was backed up. I think that also on top of that, the really highly skilled, really guys who are like their fitnesses are completely dialed in and they understand the length of the season and how to take care of themselves. I think they're just really separating themselves and they're able to exploit the game. And it just so happens a few teams have a lot of those guys where like they got 3 lines that are just every night. They're not slowing down, pumping out offense. I mean, you look at what Colorado's done. I think that they've scored 3 or more goals in like an insane amount of game, or maybe it was even Florida. So basically every night you can guarantee that they're getting 3 or more goals, which I mean, just teams are just scoring at alarming rates and, all these, goaltending issues.
That's what I was going to say, Biz. A lot of teams have great goalies, but there are a lot of teams that have been struggling. They're on their 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, even 6 goalies this year. So scoring has been crazy. Like I mentioned in the intro, there were 102 goals scored Saturday. Only the second time ever that at least 100 goals were scored in one day in the NHL. Back in 93, there were 103 on one day. Also, the 3rd day in NHL history that at least one team finished with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 goals scored. 5 games had 10 or more scored. And then on Sunday, there were 51 more goals scored, giving us the highest scoring weekend in NHL history. The goals per game rate this season is 6.3. That's the first time that it's been that high in 26 years. Also on Saturday, all 14 favorites won the game. So Chalk City for people who like the Chalk.
Oh, my God. What would that parlay have paid?
Wow. Yeah. I mean, even if they're all huge Chalk, that's
right. Even if they're
impressive.
All big favorites. I looked at the lines for tonight. This is Monday we're recording. There's like 4 games. Teams are minus 300 because I think now Vegas is just – I also think about the high scoring. There's some bad teams, right? And they're getting beat downs. Like you see Jersey, Detroit, you see some of these teams giving up ridiculous amount of goals. So some of these really high level teams play these weaker teams and it's just point night. It really does. It's like the 80s and I love it. I'm sure coaches are disgusted by it. And I'm sure in the playoffs, it'll change a little bit, but it goes back to RA's point about, Like in this playoffs, we're gonna see it like 3-0, and is it really that much anymore? Like if you're down 4-1 with 16 minutes to go in the second period, say, like, you're not out of the game. It's just it's more entertaining in a way that coaches might be disgusted and players, when the playoffs start, might be able to reel it in. But at times, I just think that the pace of the game and how tired guys are, there's nothing you can do about it.
Let's see. Last week we were talking about Geno Malkin. He gave that nasty cross-check to the Borough cop's face. He ended up getting 4 games for that. I thought that was appropriate. You guys think that was excessive? Right on? What?
I thought it was right on. And Biz, I didn't mean to hop in front of you there. I just think with Matthews getting the 2
I would have snapped, but I got my Zen-like state going.
I know. You're so Zen, dude. You're so, even looking at you, like, there's just like an aura around you.
I'm a changed man.
I'm totally relaxed too. Fucking all right. I think that Matthews getting the 2 games and then nothing happening to Dahlin, followed by Malkin with a very similar cross-check, only to see Borowetsky, I can't say his name correctly, sorry, bud, teeth and blood flying everywhere. It's like, all right, double it up, because injury was caused, right? Yep. Hours and hours in the dental chair. I got to go back to the dentist, by the way, not to make everything about me. I got an old root canal that's now failing. I either have to get the tooth pulled or they're going to try to, like, fix it from the bottom up. It's a disaster. And I asked, can I go under? Can you put me under for it? Please put me under. And they won't. So back to the cross-check, though.
No, I think you bring up a good point. I think that hours in the dentist chair should translate to maybe games.
Yes.
You know, that could be a tack on. So maybe that's, in fact, why they had to wait to make the ruling, because it did take them a little bit longer than normal. So I think,
like, Dr. Fugasato, how many hours will he be in the chair? We're looking at 23 hours. And then George Powers is like, 6 gamer. Boom. That's all they do.
23 hours. Holy fuck. Is he getting a brain transplant? What's the long?
Yeah, while flying to Australia.
That's how long I was in the chair when that guy fucking told me I had 10 cavities.
Oh, dude, Ryder has 12 cavities.
Get the fuck
out. Dude, he has to go.
He broke my record.
Dude, he has to get general anesthesia to do them all.
No wonder why Brady didn't want him getting candy.
I know, but the thing is, it's not even like he brushes his teeth every night. Like, it's, I guess, like, his teeth are so close together that, like, once food gets stuck in there, it, like, doesn't come out. But I'm like,
get him a grill.
And so the doctor's like, we can either come back, we can do like 2 a time, and you can come 5 or 6 times, or 6 times. Sorry, there's 12. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, after the first one, he's not going to go back. I'll be dragging him through the parking lot like that kid getting dragged through the airport. I don't know if you saw that Twitter clip.
Wait, so what if you're getting scammed? What if you're getting scammed just like Biz did?
This is third opinion shit. Way above your level. I'm telling you. Hey, so I'm like, all right, I guess we'll put him under. But putting your kid under, like, I'm very nervous. I hate it. And it happens all the time. Kids go under to get tubes put in their ears. Kids get a lot of ear infections. But yeah. I just sorry to make this all about.
Just so he doesn't have to go a couple times. He, like, sneaks up on his kid with the white cloth.
No, I said to the doctor, I'm like, these teeth are gonna fall out. Like, what are we doing here? And he's like, yeah, but the molars don't fall out till he's like 11, 12 years old. My poor kid's got, like, fucking George Washington teeth. He's got wooden jibs.
Hey, get the Malkin special. Bring him over. Hey, Gino.
Well, they suspend me from 5 podcasts because my kid has 12 cavities.
Instead of tying it to a door, just have fucking Gino fucking smack him out with a crust.
Yeah. Get net front battles with Ryder and Gino.
Shit.
Give me Russia best.
Not everybody's going to the playoffs. Some guys are going to be starting golf early. So G4 has a new lineup for spring for all your favorite course shoes, the Galavanters. Check out the flagship shoe for yourself on G4.com. Explore new spring colorways to fit your style and enhance your game on the course. These new styles will be sure to catch eyes on the golf course. The Galavanters are made from premium pebble full-grain leather and a cleat designed for optimal on-course traction. The Galavanters will keep you planted through your swing and dry on the course for those wet spring days. So check out G4.com. That's GFORE.com/Chicklets and get 10% off your first order today. Got to keep with the Penguins here for a sec, boys.
Hey, great wheels. I just want to say those are the ones that we win all the Sandbaggers in. And when we're not winning them, we're not wearing the G4. So shout out to G4. Very comfy shoe. And they got a lot of different kinds. They got like the easy slip-on ones too. Like if you don't like to wear those big, like the clunkier ones, but if you like the bigger ones with more support, they got that too. So shout out to G4. And thanks for hooking us up for the Sandbaggers, boy. I think I'm wearing them in this one if we win.
Spoiler alert, no spoiler. Back to the Penguins. Like I was saying, boys, they're not going to catch the Rangers, but the Caps are only 3 points back with 2 games in hand. So the Caps really control their own fate here. I'll ask you first, Whit. Would you rather face Shesterkin and the Rangers or Florida in the first round of the playoffs?
So this is a great question. I was thinking about it because I looked at the outline prior. I'd rather play Florida. I'm scared of the Rangers. I'm scared of Avery. They have like some crazy shit going. How crazy does that sound to me? But I don't really trust Bobrovsky. And I think goaltending is so important in playoffs. Now, the argument is that the Rangers 5-on-5 play is like, it can be kind of questionable. And their power play is so hot that what happens when it maybe dries out?
Yeah.
But I don't know, like the Panthers without Ekblad, and I know there's a chance he comes back middle of the first round. I don't really know the recent reports, but for me, and it's why I get on Toronto so much. It's like goaltending. Like you cannot win without an elite goalie. And I see this Shesterkin guy, and I see the seasons he's having, and the season he is having. And I know he had that questionable run while we were in Atlanta and while I was feeding Avery his lunch and stuffing him in a locker. But lately, he's completely back to like this unbeatable force. And he has his obviously ways over Pittsburgh, right? He's waving goodbye to him. He shut him out that game. He dominated him all season. It's kind of a lose-lose, right? But in terms of like, I don't really buy or trust the Panthers yet. Once they win around, I think things will change, but it's like, and I know the Rangers haven't done anything, but I don't know what it is about goaltending and me being afraid of Shesterkin and kind of not really being sure about Bobrovsky. Now, the good thing is to play devil's advocate a little for Panthers fans, the 7 of you that want me dead, you have Spencer Knight. So that's kind of the game changer in all this, that if you do have a struggling Bob, boom, this first round pick stud's coming in. So I don't know, Biz, what do you think?
I think it's a coin toss. I was critical of the way that New York opens things up, and you talked about their 5-on-5 play and how many scoring chances they give up and high quality ones at that. Over the last little bit, I feel like they've buttoned that up and addressed that, and they are playing a little less, I guess you could say, riverboat gambling style. But I guess it's hard for me to say that I trust Shesterkin more because he's never really been on a playoff run, and neither is Bob. And then on the flip side of that, I think that after the trade deadline, I don't know if that Georgiev was like scared that he was going to get dealt and didn't want to. He wasn't playing particularly well. He was talked about being a trade piece and then never ended up going anywhere because they were able to get all those guys they got without having to give up any true assets. And since then, he's been on fire too. So they kind of have that 1-2 punch as well. I agree with you though. Everything's been going according to plan for them on the power play. And then all of a sudden you get the playoffs and your matchup is against a team who's very good in the PK. And if that dries up, it's like next thing you know, it's over. So I would probably lean more towards wanting to play Florida as well. And it also is because Ekblad won't have been healthy as long in the regular season to maybe get his footing underneath him. I don't know what's going on with the long-term IR situation to where maybe he can't even come back till playoff starts. So that to me is a little bit of a question mark. Is he be able to slide right in and just kind of get back to his normal self? He kind of offsets the like, well, you got Adam Fox, the Norris defenseman, and the guy back there, where now all of a sudden you got it back. So that to me is a big component as well, and why I'm leaning towards I'd rather play Florida right now.
I think mainly it's like, as I talk about the crazy offense this year, whenever I see high scoring teams, I'm just kind of like, oh, wait till the playoffs.
Wait till the playoffs.
So maybe it's that we're like, yeah, you score so many goals, but that's going to change. That won't matter. But I mean, they gave Tampa a great series last year. And the other thing is, I think this was I think I heard this a couple weeks back, so maybe it's not the case, but I'm pretty sure that So do you know the pairing that's played the most minutes 5-on-5 together this year in the league?
Not Devon Taves and Makar. I
don't think you'll get it. And everyone will let me know if I'm incorrect, and this has changed since I heard it a few weeks back. It's Keandre Miller and Jacob Trouba. So they formed this, Trouba hammers guys. Miller skates so well. So you got Fox playing with Lindgren. And then, the bottom pairing, I like that Schneider a lot in New York. Yeah. I don't know about Nemeth, but the Rangers are better defensively than just Shesterkin. And I think that's the main reason I said that. And it pains me to say it because Avery's such a piece of shit.
Yeah, Miller's been outstanding.
Not Sean Avery, folks. We have a behind the scenes camera guy. I think
I love Avery. How about Sean Avery's spear of that guy's knee?
Yeah, he tried to ruin a guy's life in men's league. So he's still up to his old antics. No matter where he is, folks, he is just that thorn in your side. Could be men's league. Where did he go? He must have went and got the camera footage, like the security cam. Imagine being worth that much money and going at after men's league, going up to ask the security cam guy for the footage so he could fucking.
Maybe he had his own guy coming to film the game.
I mean, if there's one place you should be able to be a ham and egger, it's men's league and give a little fucking salute to the crowd.
No ham and egging when Aves is on the ice.
One other note in the Penguins, they got some bad news over the weekend. Goalie Tristan Jarry, he's going to be week to week with a suspected foot injury. It's the last thing you want going to the playoffs is a goalie on the week to week fucking injured reserve.
It's really bad
trade it for Fleury.
Really, Biz called it. It's really bad news. I feel bad because overall Jarry's had a great season, and the reason that I'm going to be, I know this is hard. The reason I'm going to be picking against the Penguins in the first round. I don't have the exact numbers, but I heard it today. Since Thanksgiving, the Penguins are 25-4 against non-playoff teams, and they're around 8-16 versus playoff teams. And now Jarry's out. It's just kind of one of those things where as much as Crosby's had this insane year, that is not getting talked about enough. He's been out of this world. I just don't think the Penguins have it this year. And that Jarry injury was gut-wrenching for those fans and that team.
Wow. What a turncoat.
Ooh.
I saw a picture that we
sheets that guaranteed your family, and you're just going to turn on them because they had a bad end of the regular season. Three Stanley Cups.
We posted a picture.
You're going to fucking jump off the wagon because they're 8-16 against playoff teams. Check out this fucking stat guy win.
That's fucking bad numbers, Biz. I saw somebody wrote, there was a picture, Grinelli, you posted or memes posted of me hugging Sid when he got his 100th point from behind. First of all, he's like, get off me. And somebody wrote beneath it, I'm going to ride you all the way to the bank.
Somebody wrote that on Twitter?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
The same way I saw somebody wrote a hilarious comment under Perry was hugging Getzlaf after the game, Tampa, Anaheim. Somebody wrote underneath it, I'm surprised he didn't knee him in the head. There could be some good shit on Twitter.
I believe that was another Montreal incident. Montreal fans will not let you forget, right? Or no, actually, so he was on Montreal and he got embarrassed.
It was your scumbag fan base.
Oh no, that was a fucking knee. Fuck him.
Yeah, fuck off.
Well, boys, we know who's going to be in the East. The West still got some stuff to settle there. Vegas, Dallas, Nashville, and LA are all vying for the last three spots. Vegas pretty much in desperation mode right now. Everybody was wondering what's going to happen when Mark Stone comes back to the lineup. Vegas set a new record by sending 7 guys to the LTII. A lot of these guys have been banged up. I think they were kind of just waiting to see how it played out. But then they were shut out by Edmonton Saturday while Dallas beat San Jose. So the Golden Knights, like I said, really got their work cut out for them. They're now 3 points behind LA for third place in the Pacific. They do have a game in hand, but they're 4 points back of both Dallas and Nashville in the wild card. Those two teams have a game in hand. Logan Thompson is basically taking over the starters crease. Robin Lehner struggling a little bit. Pete DeBoer is totally handed over to Logan Thompson. There should be a few huge games down the stretch. Dallas and Vegas, April 26th. Hopefully that game will have some huge ramifications. It's the only game left among those 4 teams I just mentioned. It's the only head-to-head game for those two teams I just mentioned. I just fucking talked myself in a circle. Yeah, Dallas and Vegas are the only two teams.
You just gave me a
playing each other.
concussion.
I did.
Yeah, I'm struggling. I got to recalibrate here.
Right. Yeah, 4 teams I mentioned. You would think there'd be a few more games among those teams playing, but only Dallas and Vegas, the only 2 to go head to head. But
yeah, you already
either
said
way,
that.
who do you got going in, Biz? Who do you think makes it?
I said on the TNT broadcast, as much as I wanted Vegas in, and I thought that a few games ago they were going to get there, I think it's going to be LA. I think they're going to hold position. I think they have a pretty good strength of schedule coming up in their favor. Maybe one more playoff team, and then I think they finished their last 5 or 6 against non-playoff teams. I think RA's got it, and I was bang on. Keep the fucking change buzzing right now. And the loss to Vancouver killed them. They only got 1 point in 2 games against Vancouver when Vegas did, and then to get blown out and blanked by the Oilers was, I think, the nail in the coffin. And I don't know if we want to shift over to the Oilers first, or kind of, pump LA's tires more and talk about Nashville. What do you want to talk about, RA?
I want to talk about the Vegas Golden Knights. This is like hockey karma for all the bullshit they've pulled in the past few years.
Mm-hmm.
All the amount of trading guys, getting rid of guys. The grass is always greener. It's like, this is disgraceful if they miss the playoffs. And you could talk about injuries. Their power play has scored 1 goal in 9 games, dude. It's pathetic. And to have the roster they have, and to have Stone out was a killer, and Pat, yes, they've missed all these guys. But for them not to make the playoffs is an absolute joke. And then you look at it like, oh, every year it's not good enough. Go to the Cup Finals, trade this guy. Fleury's gone. It's like, what are you doing? They've never been comfortable and confident with the team they've had, even though they've had some great teams. Now, all of a sudden, I don't think they're going to get in either. Now, LA has kind of been reeling, but their schedule is really going to help them in terms of the teams they're playing. They got to win these games. But for Vegas to go in and lose to Edmonton, Biz, and you're trying to say that's a knock, Edmonton might be the best team in the league right now.
No, I'm saying in a must-win situation to lay another egg.
Not even get a goal.
In which they'd been doing. Like, I mean, buddy, they won their games against Seattle, but they've laid a few eggs against teams that they've had to play well against. Like, I remember even I think it was 5 games ago where DeBoer was like, I don't even have answers for you. We were just flat out fucking brutal. I will agree with you on the hockey karma side of things with the lack of maybe loyalty. I think that from an unbiased and outside perspective, like taking that completely out of the way and just going, hey, this is fucking sports and this is how it goes, you'd probably be happy with the moves that they've made. Like, you need to establish that the fact that you have a number 1 center, you got to have depth at that position. You have to have, solid balanced lines. You have to have a good back end. Obviously where they went wrong, but they did so in order to kind of get Eichel, was getting rid of Fleury and the salary that he had. Goaltending is still kind of shaky ground in an area they do need to they need to really solidify that position. But I would say that if they don't make playoffs, I would then use next year coming in, having all that off time in order to get the team healthy and hit the reset button, establish that chemistry that you have kind of, as an organization, created that unsettling chemistry because of all the
any chemistry you've ever had, really.
That's fine. But what you're trying to build, though, is a Stanley Cup winner, right? You're trying to get the pieces in place to where you have those guys who can get you over the line. They had a magical year that first year, and every year over year they've regressed. And I completely agree with you. It's bad from a loyalty and affecting the culture, looking at all of that. But if you're taking that unbiased perspective, you're probably happy with the guys that you have in place to potentially get you there. I think that so this year was a shitstorm, dealt with all the fucking injuries. They didn't get Eichel till halfway through, coming back off the neck thing, getting piece by piece back, but then still not really having the full lineup cranking on all cylinders. They never had that opportunity one time this year. So that's why I say from a non-hater perspective, I'd say, yeah, no excuse that they miss playoffs, but I would say give everybody involved who made these decisions one more year to show if it can work. Coaching staff, personnel, all the way.
I bet you they have a new coach if they miss the playoffs next year.
You think they're going to fire DeBoer if they miss playoffs?
I think this owner's nuts, dude.
I think that I think that at that point, then it's just like, then you've lost the plot completely. It's like you have just turned over at any fucking chance you got and just look for the scapegoat in order for you not to land on the grenade at one point. I think you got to fucking say, all right, are your moves done? Is everything good to go? Is this the squad? All right, address a few minor issues going into next season, but these are the guys. Let's keep everything stable and let's give them a full year kick at the can. For them to fire DeBoer after this type of season, I think it's just, well, who the fuck are you going to go get? And there's some people out there who are like, yeah, they don't believe in DeBoer. It's always DeBoer's fault. I don't know, man. I know he's had some pretty solid teams, but he went to this cup final with San Jose. Not really sure if they were expected to get there when they got there. He went with that New Jersey team where nobody probably thought they were going to go that year. And
bring in Torts.
I don't know. We went long on Vegas, but I think it's an important, franchise to talk about given all the superstars they have and the fact that they're not going to make playoffs. And it's been absolutely chaos from year one. And it's a strong fan base now who I'm sure are going to want some answers. And they are a fickle fan base too. They pick sides. They have their guys and their favorites. So going to be an interesting situation, but we talked about it last pod too. There could probably potentially be about 9, maybe even 10 vacant. Would you say vacant or non-vacant? Or vacant
coaching vacancies?
Coaching like when the hotel says non-vacant,
I haven't took a breath in
no
4
room.
minutes, so let me breathe and I'll think of the fucking word I'm thinking of.
In I guess positive notes, well, not if you're Robin Leonard. I never even heard of this Logan Thompson. He's now their starter. He was undrafted. He played a year of Canadian University and then East Coast League up and down to AHL Coast, and now he's kind of taken over the spot. I mean, it's been a tough year for Leonard with injuries and everything else, but at least that's a guy who's getting a pretty cool chance to play in the NHL and doing well.
Biz, you just mentioned Edmonton. Might as well keep with that while
keep
we're going
your fucking positive stories off the goddamn timeline, Whit. We're here to talk about the drama, bitch.
It's fucking Easter Sunday.
I'm not breathing the rest of the pod. Fuck everybody.
Mike Smith on fucking fire.
Oh, my goodness.
40-year-old goalie. He's won 6 in a row, 7 of 8, put up back-to-back shutouts as the Oilers have pretty much locked down second place in the Pacific. Going to play either L.A. or Vegas if Vegas gets a little burst of energy here. He's the 7th goalie to have back-to-back shutouts at age 40 or older, first since Brodeur back in 2013. Since St. Patrick's Day, he's 8-1-1 with a 1.98, 9.94 save percentage. What does this continue into the playoffs?
Of course it does. Let me tell you something, RA. This team has battled through so much hate, so much shit talk from opposing fan bases, so much shit talk from their own fan base half the time, including me. I was hard on them. But they have rounded a corner, and Woodcroft has come in and changed everything. And yes, you needed goaltending. That was the argument Bob Stauffer gave to us a long time ago. Or at least he gave it to me privately. It's like, this team is not as bad as what's showing right now. They couldn't get a stop. They couldn't do it. And Smith's come back, and he is on a roll. He's on a run. Like I said, he got Biz, a team with Biz, to the Western Conference Finals. He could do it with this team. And yes, they are heavily carried by 2 forwards. But don't forget these other guys that are the Yamamotos, the Evander Kane, the guys that have kind of stepped up and stepped in and given McDavid and Draisaitl the ability to not have to carry this team. You know what happened when they beat Vegas 4-0? McDavid and Draisaitl didn't have a point. They weren't on the stat sheet, and they beat a desperate, good hockey team that needed a win 4-0 at home. Am I ultra confident that they're going to go on this crazy run to this Western Conference Final or the Stanley Cup Final? Not really. But am I way more confident than I was going into last year and then earlier this year when the struggles were going? Yes, because this team plays different now. I don't know what it was about Tippett. I don't know if the message wasn't getting through anymore, but something has triggered this change with Woodcroft coming in, mainly being goaltending and getting a save, where now all of a sudden you have everyone buying into the same system. You say McDavid and Draisaitl need to play more defense. They're playing great on the other side of the puck. And like Cody Cece's caught heat. He looks good to me. They have guys that are playing well at the right time. And people say don't peak too early. Well, we've peaked at the exact right time because we've now locked in the home ice in the first round. We got home ice advantage in the first round in Edmonton. And people say, I'm going to be getting my ear pierced. I don't know about that. Calgary has one line. Mangiapane can't score anymore, Biz. You have one line. That's it. We got depth all over the map up in E-Town, baby. Don't even worry about anything else besides the Oilers and the run that they're going on, continuing right into the first round, where I really do hope we get the Kings, because that's a minus 150.
That is a money matchup.
That's a minus one. All right, minus 150 to 170 favorite for Edmonton in that series.
Probably higher. I'd probably put him.
Wow.
Yeah, I would say 6.
Even Biz told me he was wearing in private, listeners.
No, what do you mean in private? I think I said I think I tweeted it. Oh, I'm telling you what, man. The Edmonton Oilers have found their mojo. Everything you described is absolutely right. But the way that McJesus pointed at Smitty when he set him up with that backhand pelt up the middle in OT, and he's like, "You're my guy. You're my guy." I was like, "Oh no. Oh, Smitty has risen." I know it was just Easter, and Smitty has risen, and he's come back to the same guy that I saw when he dragged my ass to the Western Conference Finals. And I said the same thing on TNT. I'm like, I think that the Edmonton Oilers are going to work the LA Kings, especially. I don't even know if we got to mention it last week, and the fact that Doughty's now out for the season after having surgery. Buddy, I don't know why you brought it to the Calgary Flames, because, hey, they've proven themselves to be one of the top teams. So you shut your fucking goddamn mouth when talking about my Flames. You just worry about you guys in your first round matchup against this layup team. And that's probably the only reason you're going to get out of the first round. And what would set up for the perfect situation, in my mind, would be a head-to-head match. And that's the way it should be, of the Battle of Alberta in the second round of playoffs. And we talk about,
because that's not definite.
That wouldn't happen.
No, because it all gets reseeded. It's not like coming out of the division in the second round like last year. It's kind of been so confusing. So the 2 and 3s in each division play each other, and then the 1 in each division play the 2 wild cards, and after that it'll reseed. It won't be like out of the Pacific.
Oh, they used to do that all the time for that reason, and then the 1 year they might get the Battle of Alberta, it goes back to the other way.
Oh my God. As a Calgary fan and a man who will have the dumbest haircut in TV history on TNT for an entire, basically, month and a half, would you rather play Dallas or Nashville?
I would rather play Dallas.
Oh, okay.
Nashville with the travel, it scares me a little bit. That building rocks. You saw how hard of a time they made it against Carolina last year. And then, as you mentioned, the depth scoring is a little bit of a concern. And much like we talked about how everything's been going right for the Rangers power play and Shesterkin this year, you get a little nervous. I mean, we always mention that, Goudreau maybe having some difficulty sometimes in playoffs, but yeah. I just think overall the structure of the team and the way it's built and the way that the goaltending situation set up, I think that either way they're going to get out of the first round. But I think that Dallas is would be ripe for the picking. But Nashville scares me.
Agreed.
Yeah, Biz, just to piggyback, Drew Doughty, he's done for the year after undergoing successful wrist surgery, expected to make a full recovery in time for next season. And the playoffs are coming, gang. And listen, if you want some last-minute seats, you know where to go. Our friends at Game Time. Game Time is the new exclusive ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. They're the only ticketing company that Barstool Sports uses to buy tickets. Created by fans for fans, Game Time is a new ticketing app that makes it easier than ever to score last-minute deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and shows, and they guarantee the lowest price. Mikey G, you just took advantage of them over the weekend, correct?
Yeah, it's actually really funny, too. First off, shout out to Game Time for hooking me up with tickets this past weekend to the Bruins game, but me and my buddy always used to buy tickets back in the day when we first got to New York City to concerts, everything around the city, and we'd always use the Game Time app. So I went to the game with my buddy actually a couple of days ago, and I said to him, I'm like, yeah, Game Time hooked us up. And he was like, dude, we used to use that app every single night when we first got to New York City. So I've been repping with Game Time for a long time, so shout out Game Time.
Absolutely. The second week in a row, no BS that people have come in my feed, said they used it, got awesome seats, for either cheap or just last minute, whatever. It did what it was supposed to do. You have a dream to sitting behind the glass? Well, it's possible with the Game Time app. The biggest last minute price drops can be found on the seats, and seats you thought you could never buy. The purchase process takes 2 taps and 10 seconds. Once you buy your tickets, they're delivered directly to your phone. No printer needed. The app also allows you to easily share tickets with friends via text so you can get into the game seamlessly. Skip the hassle and enjoy the moment. The best part, you get $20 off your first purchase. So download the Game Time app, go to the Account tab to create a login, and redeem code Chicklets for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Check it out. Great stuff for the playoffs. All right, boys. Game Time. Awesome stuff, man. Especially if you're like me, you like doing stuff last second. Nothing better than having good seats for either face value or cheaper. You can't beat it. All right, couple of milestones this week, boys. We've been talking about all these points and goals being scored. That means guys are hitting some big milestones. And last Tuesday in Seattle, our buddy Johnny Gaudreau, he hit 100 points for the first time in his career when he assisted on a Matthew Tkachuk goal. Couldn't have come at a better time for Gaudreau. He's going to be a UFA this summer, coming off a 6-year, $40.5 million deal. He's going to be probably getting a $3 million raise. Either way, he's up to 105 points in 75 games played. He's the first player taken in the fourth round or later to hit 100 points in the season since Daniel Alfredsson way back in 2005, 2006. And then Friday, in front of his home crowd, our buddy Austin Matthews assisted on Michael Bunting's 21st of the year to hit triple digits for the first time in his career. It's crazy, dude. I couldn't believe this. He's only the third Toronto Maple Leaf ever to hit 100 points in a season. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Doug Gilmour and Darryl Sittler each did it twice. Let's see. Matthews did it in 69 games, which is the third fastest ever. He's also just the third American to hit 100 points in 69 or fewer games. Pat LaFontaine did it, as did Kevin Stevens. And his partner in crime, Mitch Marner, is just 6 points from 100 points. He's got 6 games to get there. Biz, we'll go to you for the weekly stroke off.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed with what he's done all season long. I said he's the greatest Maple Leaf of all time. We came out with T-shirts. Like, what else is there to say? I'm really, really proud of this kid. He's going to keep fucking humming. He's going to bring it into playoffs. All you doubters out there are just a bunch of fucking clowns. He's going to take a massive shit on all your doubt in the first round of playoffs, and he's going to march those boys all the way to the final. So I'm proud of Matthews. As far as those are both my teams, so I got to do the double barrel stroke off. And Johnny Gaudreau, contract year, man. I mean, Whit was just fucking trying to rag on you guys, but props where it's due. 105 points, still running. And I mean, talk about getting his payday. Him and his line mate are both going to get their fucking payday. Matthew Tkachuk, who's probably going to be right close behind him, hitting 100 points as well. So just 2 unreal first lines that have been humming all year long, and 2 of the best first lines in all of hockey. And as far as Bunting's concerned, I still think he's in the run for the Calder. I think he's only got 4 power play points all year. So as far as even strength points as a rookie, and people say he's playing with Marner and Matthews, doesn't fucking matter. I think he's second.
What do you want to bet he's not in the final 3?
You don't. Oh, I think he's going to be in the final 3.
Okay, what do you want to bet?
Okay, what are my odds?
None.
Even money?
You've been calling this guy fucking Calder Trophy winner.
I'll bet you $200.
Right.
Is that a lot of money? Is that embarrassing? I know.
Does that get me out of bed in the morning mostly? No, but for you, I'll do it.
$500. How about $500?
$500. Boom.
He's going to be in the top 3. Thank you very much.
There we go. Fuck. Come on, voters. Don't do it. The guy, it's like Happy Gilmore in 3rd grade when he's like telling the kids, don't ever wish you have to go to high school. Or Billy Madison, excuse me. He's not up in the top 3. By the way, Biz.
I think you're going strictly on age, and I think that if you watch any Leafs games, you'd see he does way more things than just get points and score goals, and he's just all around a very good hockey player and can help you score 5-on-5, which is one of the hardest things to do in the National Hockey League. He doesn't look at all the inflated power play numbers on points for all those other guys. I'm not saying he's going to win it. I think Moritz Seider is probably going to end up taking it down. But I think if you don't consider him in the top 3, you're a goon who doesn't watch the Leafs play. You're too busy sucking off your fucking Oilers.
You have to be crazy in my mind to believe if you were to put Bunting next to Tanner Jeannot, that you'd have Bunting in the final 3 over him. I think the way that Bunting's a great player. But playing with those 2 guys and then looking at Tanner Jeannot and the entire overall game, the fighting, the goals.
Yeah, that's fine. But he also had 1 point in his first 12 or 13 games of the season. And unfortunately, I'm going to fucking evaluate the entirety of the season and the full body of work. Do I think what Jeannot's done in the last 55 to 60 games has been incredible? Absolutely. But he hasn't put up the numbers for a bigger sample size in which he's done. I think Jeannot probably deserves to be in the top 3. To be quite frank, I'd probably have him in there over Raymond. And now all of you fucking Red Wings fans are going to be all over me for the next week. I just finished stroking you off and saying Moritz is probably going to win the goddamn thing. So I think Jeannot, because of you, and the reason that you mentioned Jeannot, why'd you mention him? Not only because he has goals, you did so because he fucking fights. He brings the intangibles. What did I just stroke off Bunting for? The intangibles. Go look at how many penalties he draws. How many times he's going to go to the blue paint so he screens the goalie so Matthew can fucking tuck it in and tuck it top cheese. There's a lot that goes into getting 60, 65 goals as a line mate, and 10 of those might be with fucking great screens in front of the net where he didn't even end up getting a fucking point on. So I agree with you. That's why I tend to like Jeannot more than I do Raymond. And I mean, I might be speaking out of turn here. I don't think that he's really had quite the strong finish that Bunting and Jeannot has had. And on top of that, playing in relevant fucking hockey games that mean something on winning divisions and or getting your team in the playoffs. So sorry for offending you Red Wings fans and Whit.
Maybe a couple Buffalo fans can meet at a tailgate with a couple Red Wings fans before Chicklets Cup and just dummy you together. It would be like a meeting of the minds.
Is your argument more based on age, or is it more based on his line mates, or is it a collection of both?
It's kind of a combination.
Okay,
My other Leafs take for this week, Mitch Marner is incredible. Like, I know I said...
You heard it here first, folks.
I know I said Nylander's...
You heard it here first.
Well, I'm prefacing my point by being a nice guy and being a true fan of the game. I can't stand him. I cannot stand him. I cannot stand watching his celebrations and his dancing after he scores. Like, do you see McDavid? Do you see Crosby? Do you see fucking guys around the league, Getzlaf, doing these little dances after he scores goal? Mitch Marner is like what makes being a sports fan so great. From like, in my instance, it's like disliking guys and wanting them to like fail. Now, listen, that sounds so bad, and I'm not talking off the ice. I'm sure the kid's a great kid. I've never met him, but on the ice, I want the Leafs to lose because of Mitch Marner. He is like drives me crazy, partly because he's so good, and partly just his little new dance move after goals, and like just looking at other guys around the league that I've never seen pull that off. It's just going to make it that much sweeter when the Leafs lose this year.
You are a hating sack of shit.
That's what makes a fan. That's what makes it great being a fan, though. There's
same
reasons
thing that
to
Steph
dislike.
Curry's doing. Do you not like Steph Curry? Do you not like him engaging with the fans? And
Okay, so for some reason, I think it's like different in hockey. Maybe I'm that old boomer stupid take of like, but I don't hate the skill of the game, and I really like watching him play. It's something about him on the ice that like gets me going in a negative fashion as a fan, which I think as a player you'd want. Like, his goal is to probably piss off all non-Leafs fans, and I just mainly think he's really good at it, if that makes sense to you guys. All right, do you know what I'm saying or no?
If Whit was born in the era where he got to watch Jordan through his prime, he would have been bitching at the fact that he was eating bubble gum on the court.
No, Jordan didn't do any of that shit, dude. That's a tough analogy by you.
Well, I don't agree with like his opinion on mine. I get what he's saying. Like, he fuels his like hatred toward his game or whatever by this little stuff. I don't
not his game, the team,
the extra stuff. Yeah, the extracurricular stuff.
What exactly has he done as far as like? Can you
just recently a couple goals? He's doing this little dance after. It's driving me crazy.
Shimmy.
Maybe because I'm just like, I hate the Leafs so much, and this guy's like.
I want it to go viral. I want to see TikToks of this dance he's doing, and I want people to like print out photos of it and put it on your front lawn.
I think it was in the Ottawa game this weekend. And now, granted, like, I am a Leafs hater, and I'm watching this game. I'm like, this fucking kid. And he's also, I think he's outscored the entire league in the past few months. Like, this guy's unbelievable. I can openly admit an unreal top-end superstar in the game. But he fucking makes me hate the Leafs even more than I already do. And I know there's Leafs haters out there that will agree with me.
Who else in the league would you say compares to him with that? Do you think Zegras is on that level?
Yeah, but see, I'm such a open book to this stuff that if you like me and you're friends with me, I'll just like you. So because I've never met Marner, that's why I don't like him.
Until you're dabbing him up at a Leafs game after they win
Until
the
we
cup.
do a Sandbagger and I'm hugging him, asking for his phone number.
I come in the locker room, he's like, he does a little shimmy. He's like, sorry, buddy.
Have you seen the shimmy I'm talking about or no? Have you not seen it?
No, but I'm going to learn. I'm going to learn it, and I'm going to do it every time I see you.
It's like a little shoulder shimmy. It's like this new thing he's been doing. He's probably going to get 100 points too, though. So that'll be the fourth
playoffs this year. Post the clip of him doing the shimmy shake, and make sure all you Leafs fans, when you see each other on the sidewalk, do the little. What are some famous dances that involve that movement, Grinelli? You'll know them.
I mean, Antoine Walker had that famous shimmy for the Celtics years ago. That was unbelievable. The wiggle he had going. It was incredible.
It was this goal when it went off his foot in Ottawa. I'm watching the goal right now, though. So I'll see. Go ahead. All right. Sorry.
All right. Chris Kreider, 50 goals.
How the hell does that guy have 50 goals?
Power play.
50 goals. He's got 25 on the power play, a team record. He joins Austin Matthews and Leon Draisaitl as one of three guys to have 50 on this year. Great to see. It's a huge marker in, any goal scorer's fucking career. Nice to see him come back because I think we had a few years without that many.
I think that we can, that should null and void anybody making fun of him anymore for that offside that he had where he was 45 feet offside.
Yeah, it's the internet, too. They never forget.
So I think that should null and void it given the success he's had this year. And I think the most career high he had before that, RA, was 28?
28, yeah, 28. He's only the fourth Ranger to get 50 goals. This is another stat I was surprised. These so, franchises are so old. I would have thought a lot more guys scored 50. Jaromir Jagr, Adam Graves, Vic Hadfield, the only three Rangers to do it before him. The first time in 12 years that the league has had at least 3 50-goal scorers. Let's see, Crosby, Stamkos, and Ovi did it 12 years ago. And the Rangers also tied Carolina. Carolina with 104 points. Carolina does hold the tiebreaker, but these two teams do play one more time, April 26th at Madison Square Garden. Should be an interesting take down the stretch. The Canes also lost Freddie Anderson and Jordan Staal in Colorado the other night. Staal took a huge hit from Cale Makar. Anderson left late in the third, needing help to the bench. We'll keep an eye on that. But also Saturday versus the Red Wings. Biz, the Stevie Y Goon Squad shows up yet again. Frank Vetrano gets a goal absolutely bundled by Dylan Larkin after. I'm not sure if you saw Vetrano's quote after. He said, "It surprised me. I didn't expect a player like him to hit me late like that." It's all right, though, because he got walked later on that between the legs goal. We sent him home with his tail between his legs.
Whoa. Flames coming at you. We're going back to this league segment. We're going back. I was going to talk on quickly on Carolina. Whit, are their wheels falling off a little bit? If they lose first round, man, I'm going to feel so bad for them and that fan base.
I mean, that hit that Makar threw on Staal might get him the Norris back. Stahl's 6'3", 230, and Makar lit him up like a Christmas tree.
Well, it could have been his performance against LA as well, but yes, I agree that the hit was nice.
I know. Basically, since I went back and took back my Makar, you'll see Makar had like 7 points in 2 games.
Yeah.
But I said last week that the Carolina fans, we have an angry bunch at the Wit Dog. I hate to use the third person, but Jesus Christ, I'm going down to Pinehurst in 2 weeks. I'm afraid some scrub named Bubba might come out of the woods.
We'll
North
get a 2-for-1
Carolina
special on security. We'll use the same guys for Buffalo
with a Carolina Hurricanes jersey over my head. But I don't know. I think a lot of people said, "What are you talking about? No superstar. The St. Louis Blues won the cup without a superstar." I would say Pietrangelo was one of the best defensemen in the league, and also in the playoffs, O'Reilly was a superstar. So I could kind of see their argument on that. But without Anderson and without Staal, granted, Staal plays lower in the lineup, but he's the leader of that team. He's the captain. I don't know if he'll be able to come back in the next few weeks, but yeah, I'm just going to kind of stick with my Hurricanes take. And quickly, I watched the video of Marner. It's me really deflecting how much I can't stand the Maple Leafs, because you're going to see this clip and be like, what the fuck are you talking about, Whit? But I'll just say I'm still standing by it. I'm standing by my hatred for the Leafs and Marner being that good.
All right, well, we'll go with that. Colorado, we just mentioned them. They clinched, the Central and got the top seed in the West going forward. They signed Ben Myers. He was probably the most highly touted undrafted free agent out of college. Was at Minnesota. He scored in his NHL debut as well.
Quickly, RA, on that kid. Pretty cool to see. That kid had the choice of any team in the league he could have signed with. And for the most part, you'd think he'd sign with a weaker team with the ability to play more. But he went right for the top team in the league. And I'm sure that fired Colorado up, because when they're looking at it like, all right, we're going to lose Kadri this summer. We got to pay McKinnon in the next year or two. So they're kind of looking at it like, we got to retool a different way because we're going to be losing guys. And that kid made a ballsy decision to pick the best team in the league to sign with when he could have signed with any other 31 other teams.
Yeah, goal in his first game. Good shit. Biz, Colorado, they were on one of your TNT games this week as well. I know the games haven't had as much, allure, kind of in the stretch run here. Let's see, you had Rangers, Philadelphia, early game. Rangers beat them kind of
the Rangers.
Blah, blah.
Yeah, Philly's just like, what a shitbag season they've had. Yeah, they got worked by the Rangers. But the more exciting game was the LA Kings against the Colorado. And what was exciting about it is, you get a firsthand look at Colorado and, and how they move the puck around. And that's a desperate LA team as well. Just Max at a different level right now. He's kind of gotten to that next gear. And, I don't know how much of it is, preserving energy. And of course, there's a few guys out with injury, but he kind of just, him and Makar said, hey, jump on, boys. And they got the job done. Now, their power play and how they're able to, they had sustained pressure for, I think, 2 power plays for 90 seconds. Their puck retrievals are incredible. And when they get it set up on one side, if they don't really like what they're seeing very quickly, they can just shift it over to the other side and then read the play. Then you see McKinnon just take Makar's spot. They snap it one more pass, and then he feeds Makar where McKinnon was, right in his breadbasket, and he goes upstairs. So their ability to shift and make changes on the power play in the midst of their power play without even really signaling to each other is second to none. They are just fucking primed and ready to go. And then they ended up rolling Carolina. I think they scored another 7 goals. So it was pretty fascinating. LA tried to march back a little bit, but I think they ended up yanking quick. But just to see Colorado and get a full game of just watching how they operate, it's just fascinating shit.
Yeah, it was a game. Nobody was even celebrating the goals, whether they were in the winning team or the losing team. It was just goal. All right, let's not have a face-off. Let's just get this shit over with. Yeah, basically.
Oh, and one quick thing, too, about that Colorado game. All the fans, even though it was a blowout, stayed all the way to the end because they surpassed their wins for a season in their franchise history.
Broke that record?
They broke that record, I believe, and because at the end of the game, they were going nuts for breaking some record. I would assume it was that one. So congratulations. Those fans have been hardcore all year, and they got a reason to cheer going into playoffs. That's for sure.
Well, let's give a shout out to Canada. We actually got a postponed game in April because of a blizzard in Winnipeg. Seattle and Winnipeg couldn't play that night because of a blizzard, so they're going to have to make it up in May. Unusual. But either way, time for Rick Tocchet. Like I said, the interview is brought to you by Revitalite. You've probably heard about Revitalite a lot by now. You know the drill. It's the adult version of a certain drink you find in the baby aisle. They took away the embarrassment we meet at the register by putting their brand in places where you can buy beer, wine, and liquor across the nation to make your weekend shopping even easier, and you can get it on the Barstool store. Well, the guys at Revitalite are taking things to the next level and teamed up with us to create the ultimate way to save yourself a rough morning after. Revitalite Black Label, made specifically for stoolies in mind with maximum recovery and the perfect complement when your life gets a little rough and rowdy. Don't pay for Saturday nights on Sunday morning. Revitalite Black Label pairs perfectly with nightcaps and midnight snacks. Your nightstand will feel naked without Revitalite, so stock up. Pro tip, drink half at night and the other half in the morning for optimal results. So pick up your Revitalite Black Label today in store or online at the Barstool store. And tweet at us, or tag at Drink Revitalite in your morning after stories. And now, enjoy Rick Tocchet. Well, our next guest was one of the toughest customers of his era, and he could put the puck in the net as well, scoring 40 or more goals 3 separate times. A 6th-round pick by Philly at the 83 draft, this power forward went on to play 18 NHL seasons for 6 teams, and he won a Stanley Cup with the 92 Penguins. He also tallied over 3,000 penalty minutes between the regular season and the playoffs. And these days you can hear him on TNT with our guy Biz, and we're psyched to have him on with us today. Welcome to the Spittin Chiclets podcast. Once again, Rick Tocchet, your second appearance. I got to take that over. Fuck, man.
No, you're good, buddy.
No,
all
right, we're in. Sorry, buddy. We're in.
Hey, how many times did I do it at my place, the intro? Or did I do it first try?
No, you're pretty good.
Okay.
You crushed it first time?
I think I fucked it up one time.
That's all right.
No, I think we're good.
Yeah, so we missed the first time that Biz got to interview. I think it was midsummer, 3 years ago?
Oh, are we actually diving right in, or is RA going to get another try?
I think we're in. He crushed it. He was too hard on himself there.
Yeah, I forgot he was. I knew he was
So,
on
we're,
before.
so we're on right now.
We're on.
Fuck it,
Okay,
let's
so-
roll. We're rolling.
I've graduated to the big boys right now because I did with Biz, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Biz in a $200,000 condo, which is you probably sold it for $800 in Scottsdale.
No, he rents
and
it
now,
out.
Now he owns properties all over the state.
Now he's living
so
in
I've graduated.
We did,
he's a big boy now, and I get to go with the big boys. So
We
I
did
appreciate that.
casting couch at,
Yeah, that's right.
at my place.
Yeah,
Now
you had the one bedroom apartment.
now
the sheets all just disheveled.
Living
and,
like a king. I don't think I have one plate or dish in that place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're
Nothing.
paying $200 a month for your spot in Atlanta now, so I guess the more things change, the more they stay the same, Biz.
Living at a crack house.
Talk, what's going on? I mean, are you enjoying the TNT? I mean, you guys are doing great. We talked to Wayne and Biz. He seems to love it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I thought how it'd be after not coaching. This year not being competitive, but this gig, man. I'm lucky. I got into this thing, and I made it. But no one I didn't know Biz. I knew Biz, but not really know Biz to this year. And I like busting his balls and stuff. But he's been terrific. Wayne, Anson, and Liam, good bunch of guys. TNT. Biz,
They treat us like gold.
They treat it like gold, and their philosophy is great. What we want to do is talk hockey.
In a
jab each
relaxed
other,
way, it seems.
Relaxed way. They don't want you to sit and be a nerd and break down film too much, but they want your opinion, and it's been great. I'm lucky to have this gig.
And this summer, did somebody just randomly reach out to you through an agent, or how did that all come about?
So I was interviewing for a bunch of jobs,
Yep.
head coach jobs, and I had about 4 opportunities as an associate coach. And actually, my girlfriend and my agent said, "Listen, why don't you go try out for TNT on one of those, what do they call that, screening or whatever, to fly in?" And I didn't want to do it. I said, "I don't want to do it."
Really?
But they talked me into it, and I flew down the one day. Actually, Biz, I think you were there that day before me, but I was later. And then the next day they called and they say, "Hey, we'd like to sign you." So I had a couple opportunities to go somewhere to another team, associate coach, and it was a tough decision, guys. I was like, "What do I do?" And at the end of the day, I thought this was probably the best avenue if I want to get back into head coaching.
And fuck, man, you probably need a break. It's such a grind. How many hours at the rink every day? Constantly trying to pull guys in a certain direction, thinking of all these like practices and thinking of game schemes.
It's funny. I think every coach needs a break sometimes. You played the game. Some coaches, that some coaches are just stressed. You can just tell. And I probably needed a break for sure. Some guys have some other teams where maybe you don't need a break because they have some really good hockey teams and they win a lot more. But I just think that it's good for coaches to take breaks sometimes and reinvent yourself. I played with Sean Payton and Wayne golf the other day, and Sean Payton's taken a break. One of the best coaches in the league the last 10 years, 12 years, arguably. He's taking a year off. He wants to reboot, out of box,
find the passion again,
and maybe hook on with a different team. So, I'm excited about just taking this year off and see what happens.
I was wondering, just going through your coaching kind of career, I was looking at, when you coached Tampa, then you took a little time off before you got back into the game. What did you do those few years when you were kind of recharging after that experience in Tampa?
So I did a little bit of TV with the Flyers, post-game, pre and post-game.
Was Jonesy there then too?
I took Jonesy's job. So Jonesy's he's a legend NBC guy, so I was that pre-post guy. And that also was a fun year because the Flyers went to the Stanley Cup Finals. So that was a lot of fun. It's amazing when you're on TV, people see your... So I remember walking the streets of Philly. People know me as it is, but still going there, "Hey, Talk, great job. Great job, great series." I'm like, I'm a pre- and post-game guy. I'm not a coach or a player. I don't know whether you're congratulating me on the Flyers winning, but that was a lot of fun to do.
I think if you get enough Gordie Howes in that city, they'll just kind of say hi to you whenever you're walking the streets.
Well, they love the fights. They love the fights. I remember going to a bar when I played, and if I remember you score a couple of goals, you go in there, and guys are having to buy you drinks all the time. And then they go, man, yeah, but you didn't get in a fight. Man, we won 42.
shit.
I got 2 goals. But you get 2 fights, and it's like these guys love it. So it's an aggressive city, and I think that's one thing that they want their teams. They want that Flyer identity back. They've kind of lost right now, and I think that's what they're looking for.
I remember playing there, and it was they had Giroux, they had Richards, Carter, and Richards chucked them, but it was more Riley, Cote, and Grattan. It was like those were the 2 guys. You're right. They just eat it up there.
Yeah. And it's and you guys had the rivals with Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I mean, those were big rivals, and there still is. It's one of the best rivals, I think, in the NHL.
Is it tough to get associate offers after you were being a head coach for the last 4 years? Is it, I don't want to say insulting, but is it kind of like, shit, man, I was just a head coach?
No, it's not insulting, but I have a lot of respect for assistant coaches and associate coaches. A lot of respect, because you got to do the shit work. You got to do the little.
It's more work, right?
It's more work, and you really got to put the little fires out for the head coach. Like, that's a really good assistant coach. We always talk about pigeon. You played there. This guy's a pigeon assistant coach. And I remember telling Sid knows this story. I said, if I ever become a pigeon assistant coach, just let me know, because I'll quit. I mean, I'll go do something else. I never want, if any player ever calls me a pigeon.
Well, I think he kind of did when he told you to change your suit.
Well,
that was one of the most. That just goes to show not only his superstition, but that was an all timer. And you told it on the TNT broadcast. For those of you who haven't heard it, the floor is now yours.
Yeah, Sid. You play with him. Mr. Superstition.
What round was this? Like, where were you guys at the point?
I think we were playing Tampa. And
I love what you said. It was new. It was beautiful too. Right?
It was like $1,600 nice blue suit. It was 5-6 years ago. So I was kind of proud of that thing. And I did wear it. I don't remember when, but I remember we lost these 2 games. I had that suit on, and he pulled me right off the bus. He said, "What's up, man? Something about the power play breakout? Something about, should we switch maybe the flankers? What do you want? No, can you change your suit? You're 0-2 with that suit." And I said, "Absolutely." And
you're like, "Hey, can I mix up the shirt tie combo? Like, and maybe keep the suit?" He's like,
man.
No, guys, the suit.
No, guys, the suit. That was it. And whatever it takes to win. When Sidney Crosby asks you to do something, you're going to do it.
But with you running the power play on that team, I mean, you got Phil, you got Gino, you got Sid. I'm not going to say big egos, but it's guys who are all pretty confident in themselves. So you really were kind of just trying to manage personalities in a way.
Yeah, I think and we had some stretches where guys are yelling and screaming, and I love that though. Guys are coming off. Tanger's yelling at Gino. Gino wants the puck. Sid's mad because Gino's not going in the middle. But that's the stuff you go through, the maturity of it. But when the game was on the line, man, I stayed out of their way. I mean, these guys. That's to me is a good power play. It's 2-2, 6 minutes left or 4 minutes left in the game, and you got that power play. We scored a lot of times during that situation. Yeah. You're up 4-1. You get a power play. You go for 3. Nobody really. I don't really care about percentages. I care about when the pressure's on, and those guys delivered most times.
I think one of the more famous clips was it Gino and Kessel going at it on the bench.
Oh yeah,
and that was a fire that you ended up putting it out. And you mentioned these are big moments, man. Like even though the egos are there, you can't let them take over and overtake the team, especially when you're in the midst of a cup run.
Yeah, that's one thing I loved about Mike Sullivan. Who's a great coach. He loved that. He calls it juice. Like, it's okay. There's a different way to bark with a guy. Tanger was great because, he
would take a little shit from them.
He would take shit, but and when you play with him, and as he grew and got older, he did it for the defense because those. I'm not saying Sid or anybody. The forwards, give us the puck. We all do that. Hey, move the puck, get the fucking puck up, whatever. And he would jump in and say, "Hey, you guys start back checking." So he would protect the younger guys. And I told Tanger, "That's great. Start screaming back up at those guys." And I think that helps the young guys. It really does.
You actually told another story on the broadcast. Was it when you were in with Los Angeles with Paul Coffey and Wayne? And Wayne when he was barking.
No, Paul Coffey was with Edmonton, and they did the same thing. They'd bitch and complain, and Gretz wasn't. He's bitching to Koff not getting the puck. So Koff told me, Koff, great skater, the Niedermeyer type, around the net, and he saw Gretz up the middle, and he threw it about 4 inches and hit him right in the skate. And Wayne, he's got that high, "Hey, what are you doing?" So they go on the bench, and he started yelling at Koff, and Koff looked at him and goes, "I can do this all night." So I love that. They used to do that all the time. They used to get in their fights and stuff like that on the bench too. And I think to win, you have to have those arguments. if everybody's a nice guy and everybody gets along, you don't win. I don't think.
Yeah, a couple fuck you matches to get a Stanley Cup ring, all right.
It's true.
Yeah, I wouldn't know, but I drank out of it a few times. Didn't win it, though. We always like to go back to the beginning of guys' careers, Rick. And, like, you were a 6th-round pick, like I mentioned. When did a possible pro career first come on your radar? How old were you? When did you start thinking, okay, I can play in the NHL?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think in my second year junior, like, you always dream the NHL, but I was thinking, hey, if I can get to college, maybe I can make the minors. Then I had a really good 3rd year in junior. I thought I was going to get a little draft made in the 4th round. I had to go in the 6th round. But I really trained hard that summer, the second training camp in Philadelphia. And I'll be honest, I was lucky because all the old Flyers, the Bobby Clarks, the Billy Barbers of the world, Rick McLeish's, all those guys were starting to retire. So there's a lot of spots opening up. So there was about 6 spots open. It was Peter Zezel, Derek Smith, Pelly Acklin. These guys we're all mid draft picks, and we all made the team. And we had Mike Keenan as our coach. So it was lucky. Sometimes guys get drafted and you go into a stacked team. You might have to go to the minors for 2-3 years. If it was another team I got drafted, maybe I went to the minors. So I was lucky.
Maybe I'm going crazy here, but when you were drafted by the Flyers, when you went up to like the box that they had, didn't one of them offer you a
yeah, do you guys know Tom McVie? He
used to coach Maine Mariners. Yeah,
he's a legendary guy. So he was one of the scouts. And they have these, this big silver pots. They got beers, and then they got the waters and whatever, the Gatorades over here. And all of us we all went and grabbed the water. And then, he's got that raspy voice. He goes, well, boy, Clark, another shitty draft. These guys are all grabbing waters and no beer. And we all kind of, I'm 18, 19 at the time, and I was like, shitting my pants. And, so he's talking about not one rookie took a beer. So
unbelievable.
You're like, I would have. So you never spent a minute in the minors. So you go to camp that year, and I guess, expectations, you're trying to make the team, but when did you kind of find out, hey, I made this club? Did the GM or the coach say, hey, get a place?
Yeah, I started playing 6. Like back then, you play 12 exhibition games.
No way.
So now, usually, like some guys get 5 in and they get piped out of there. So I started playing 6 games, now 7 games. Now we're going into New Jersey, and that's just a fight fest. Like that's the one thing. Exhibitions, there was fights every night, like 4 or 5. Oh. We had Craig, we had some tough teams there. So we'd go in there. So we get some good fights, and we'd win the game, and get a fight or get a goal. And then all of a sudden, played the 9th game, and then about the 10th or 11th game, Bobby Clark said to me, he goes, I want you to go get a place. So I ended up getting a place with Daryl. You guys might know that Dave Brown, toughest guy in the league. Daryl Stanley, one of the toughest guys in the league. Peter Zezel, he was a heartthrob. This guy, every girl in Philly loved him, and it was myself. So we had 4 guys in this.
No way.
That's why you grabbed him.
One of business condos back in the day. It was like that.
the one bedroom.
South Philly.
Yeah, you had one part of the L coach.
No, there was like 4, but they were.
Is that why you guys asked Zezel? So you guys get the residuals? Like, was it kind of like, hey, this guy's going to wheel and deal? He's the big hot shot.
Yeah, you want to hang around with Pete. You get you get the outside stuff. That's all right though.
I remember Gary Roberts. It's like telling me old stories. He talked about Dave Brown, and you talked about Craig Berube. Like Dave Brown was the toughest in the league though. Then
there was a guy my first year exhibition guy named Tim Coolis. It was legendary stories when he was a junior, like urban stories.
Yeah.
Like this guy beat up a ref and killed his roommate, like all this, like it's like Oglethorpe type of thing. And you're like, I kept on thinking this guy. And next thing you know, we're playing Minnesota, and I look on the sheet, and it's his name, and he's skating around. He had those pointy teeth, and I was, the guy's stretching at the blue line there at center ice there, and he's looking at me, and he goes, "I'm going to get you, rookie," and stuff. And I got a little like I admit I don't get scared. I get nervous, but I'm never really scared. And my heart was fluttering. Dave Brown, the first shift, grabbed this guy and broke his orbit bone. That guy never shifted in his life. The next shift, I was hitting guys and
like I got brownie on
like Freddy Krueger's dead. Freddy Krueger's dead. Like it was in my head,
wow.
Right? Like this guy was I built this guy up I was scared. And then Dave Brown, that's how tough this guy was.
Wow. So he was the guy then.
He was the guy.
And then for yourself, legendary, scorer and fighter, power forward. But when you were 15 years old, was that always part of the game? Was it your father who got you into that, or was it just kind of who you are as a player?
Well, my dad was a guy that always protect your friends, protect your family type of thing. So I just naturally did it. Like,
were you street fighting as a kid when you were 11 years old?
No, not that much. No. I remember my dad one time, there was a bully at school. I was scared when my dad said, listen, don't even think, just punch him right. And my dad's an Italian immigrant. So I remember, I did that, and I got called in the office. And my dad, I remember broken English, like giving the shit to the principal. hey, this bully's, you worry about this bully, don't worry about my son. So that's when I really I love my dad because
you clean his clock though.
Well, I just punched him. I didn't think. It took me a while though. I was scared of this guy. I got to admit. It just takes you that one.
But then you got to the O and you played for the Sioux.
Played for the Sioux, and I was lucky, guys. I'll tell you. I go to the Sioux for 3 years, and then my first 8 years in Philly. Legitimately, those teams are the toughest in the league. We were Sault Ste. Marie, we had the toughest team, and then I go to Philly, and we got 7, 8 deep, 9 deep. It's not like you're playing. You go to a team, you're the only guy. You got the pork chopper on your net, right, Biz? You had no tough. Did you have any tough guys when you played? Not really.
Yeah, but
you wore the pork chopper.
You never got to be the third guy. You were always, you know what I mean?
You were never.
I was always scared going to play against the Philly Phantoms when we were in the American Hockey League. Fortunately, I had Dennis Bomby there, and there was always maybe 1 to 2 guys. But when I got to the NHL level, it was fading out to the point where most teams at that point, Detroit didn't really have one. McCarty is just retired.
Oh, okay.
So, I was fortunate where I didn't really have to fight any of these scary old school guys. Yeah. That era had passed, and thankfully so, because if you're stranded on an island, like you said, you can get the fucking wheels beat off you, and you really lose the jam to even want to do it.
I'll be honest, there's some guys that they've had some mental health issues over their career because of that. Because
the anxiety.
Because the anxiety, some guys they think it all the time. They talk about it. And I don't like talking about it. I'm at dinner night before a game. I don't want to talk about, hey man, Ty Domi's on that team, and or George, all these guys, and stop talking about it.
So you wouldn't have a problem taking a pregame nap?
No, I wasn't too bad. I'd start thinking of the game. If I knew I was going to get in a fight, I started thinking around 6, 7 o'clock. You sit your
Did you want to get it out of the way? Is that were you? I was that type of player where I just wanted to get it out of the way first shift.
What I really enjoyed as I got older, experience was make the other guy wait, because there's nothing worse when you got to fight, but the other guy, when's this guy going to fight? Now he's losing you get anxiety. When you get anxiety, you get tired, and then you're not as sharp. So sometimes it's nice to be the hunty. Because now you can decide when you want to fight.
I mean, the fighting, it looked like it came natural to you. You looked like you liked it, did you?
Well, if you win, if you lose, you hate it. But no, you enjoy it in the sense that if it helps your team. I'm not a big stage guy. Who cares who wears a belt? And this, a lot of guys are fighting for, hey, I'm the belt guy or whatever. It's more of a passion. Somebody goes after your teammate, or there's something happens in front of your goalie, or somebody did something to a teammate the game before. Those are the best fights, I think.
And looking at the numbers here, the first 2 years you get 14 goals, you're at 200 PIMs, 284. Then you go 21 goals, then 31 goals. The 31 goal season you had 299 PIMs. So that next year you get 45 goals and the PIMs drop by 100. Was it noticeable? All right, I'm actually scoring so much now, I don't need to fight as much. Or a coach even saying, hey, you're now an elite goal scorer, let's slow it down a little bit.
Yeah, Mike Keenan just told me he wanted me to shoot a lot of pucks in the summer. So my dad did this makeshift gym shooting gallery in my house there. So I shot a lot of pucks. I do a lot of skill work. Wasn't huge back then.
You were still living at home?
Well, I go back for the summers.
Oh, okay.
Well, hang on a sec.
You're chirping me about my apartment. I just figured if you're going
I had a house.
Making NHL. No, you're going back home. I just wanted to know. I just wanted to ask.
My third year. No, I was on my own third year, but that's a good question. No, maybe I did live at home.
Did you have the plastic sheet there, and that's how you were shooting?
It was like a parachute. You put a parachute and you shoot in the parachute. This big, huge,
But there were no skill instructors, so it was just shoot
I had no
pucks.
skill instructor. Yeah, shooting pucks. Watching Rocky workouts and all that sort of stuff. There was no
raw eggs in the morning.
I did that.
Get the fuck out of here!
I swear to God.
You poured in the cow many.
They should have a statue of you.
I did that. I did that. Now I'm not saying when I was 17, 18. In Rocky, I did that. I did the Rocky workouts. I did the eggs, and I played the
chasing the chicken in the backyard.
But to be fair though,
chasing the chicken.
Going back, there's photos of you. You are absolutely cut. So your off ice conditioning was obviously probably far superior of most guys, and that's probably a big reason as to how you were able to step in and then also maintain that dominance, not only as a fighter but as a player, conditioning wise.
Back then, for sure, that was my edge.
Because most guys were crushing pints all summer long, weren't they?
Yeah. Well, that era, the guys we took over, they got in shape during training camp. But Mike Keenan and the Flyers were ahead of their time. We were probably, and I can honestly say, the best shaped team in the league. We didn't have the greatest. We'd have a lot of stars. Timmy Kerr's probably our biggest star. per se.
Talk about a guy nobody knows about either. Not nobody, but
You're right.
hockey fans.
Imagine
This guy had 99
imagine,
points. Like,
imagine if he didn't get hurt. Like he had a lot of injuries. This guy could score. Unbelievable, big guy. But we were unreal shape.
Did Mike Keenan's tactics, did they work on you? Did they motivate you? I know different guys get different results.
Yeah, I mean, Mike, I've told you, I think Biz knows the story. We were playing Calgary, and, we've had some pretty good tilts. And we were coming off the first period, and I was mad about something. And he was behind me, and he said, shut up, you prima donna. And I snapped.
no way.
So I turn around, and I go after him. Brad McCrimmon and Mark Howe get in between me, and I'm ready to go after him, right? And he's like this. So the second period starts. You know what happens. I get in a fight. I fought Paul Baxter, Poplinski. We get a couple. I think I fought two or three. No, definitely 2 times. I thought it was 3 times.
Just imagine the other guy's Keenan the whole time.
Yeah. We win the game. And I remember, I had the long hair, and this used to be a nice bar called. Now it's Cowboys, but it's called the Bank. It's you're Canadian, you're American going there. It's a great spot. But I was blow drying my hair, right? So I got my hair, and I had a black eye. And I had the
coif.
I had the my hair. I had the black eye, and I'm like this, and we're all going out, right? Keenan comes over, and he comes over and he hands me there was like $1,000 cash. No, I'm sorry, not cash. The team credit card.
Oh,
and he goes, "Go take the boys out," and I just fired it back. I'll use my own money to pay for the boys. I was mad at him, right?
Yeah, don't call me a prima donna.
Oh yeah. So, but that was Mike does that. You're asking. That's the tactics he did. He'd mind.
And are there times with Biz? Are there times the team is like, fuck this guy, where he thinks it's like getting you guys together to hate him, the old Herb Brooks thing.
Yeah.
But other times it's like we really do hate him, like we do not want him here anymore.
Yeah, I think, and Mike will tell you. And I listen. He helped me in my career. I'll state this. I love the guy, and I had some hate relationships with him, but I did love the guy. I think we won like 12 or 13 in a row. We went into Chicago Stadium, one of the loudest buildings. They had a good team there. Al Secord, they had some tough. We lost 4-3. It was a great hockey game. Fights, goals. We lost 4-3, and he just reamed us. And I remember we all looked at each other. He left the room like, "Are you out of your mind?" We just won 12 games.
Oh my God!
Guys some guys are getting stitched up. There's ice bags everywhere. And I think that's when I always say to Mike, I tell him, I think that's where he kind of lost the team right there. That was one time. That was
So now that you talk to him after it's all said and done, it seemed like he had the same philosophy going into every team, though, where he would have these short shelf life. So would he not learn from his mistakes, maybe, or was it just like you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Like, do you have those conversations with him now?
Yeah, we were we had a great conversation at Wayne's fantasy camp. He talked about that sort of stuff that he knows nowadays he couldn't do it. You can't do his tactics. But he was successful in Philly. He went to the Rangers, brought them
successful everywhere.
So he's done a nice job. But you're right, Biz, a short shelf life, and he probably knows he has to change a few things if he was ever going to be coach again.
And so, in your time in Philly, two different runs to the finals, right?
Yeah.
And both times you run into this juggernaut Oilers squad, Was there one of the years or both of the years where you kind of knew, oh my God, we're in when we're going to have to play the greatest hockey ever to have a chance? Or were you really kind of thinking, we can beat these guys? This isn't that big of a deal.
87. We had them, you can ask Gretz. Their team was far superior, but I'm telling you, and we talk about our team was relentless. We were in great shape. We had, actually, Tim Kerr was hurt, so he never played. And I think Brad McCrimmon got hurt at the end. So 2 of our star players were out, and we took them to Game 7. And we lost. Anderson scored an empty net, but it was 2-1. It was actually we're up 1-0. We had a 5-on-3 in the second period, and And Murray Craven, it was a rebound. Sometimes when you got to guess, sometimes you go right or left. There's he went like this. He went this way. The puck went this way. If he goes this way, it's in the net. 2-0. And Hexie at that time was, he won the Conn Smythe. You never know, but listen, Edmonton, they're a far superior team. Yeah. The talent level they had was incredible.
McCrimmon, he was one of the vets that took you under his wing.
Love that guy. It wasn't for him. This guy was, when you talk about old school, he does
right?
The beast. He was the best. I remember we went out one night, and I stayed with him. I roomed with him for 2 months. I was trying to find a place. It was in August. And he was a big workout guy, but he liked to go out. And we went out to this place called Kaminsky's. It was kind of a watering hole for all the Flyers. A lot of people in there. We just have a great time. And I remember we used to drink Stroh Lights. They still have Stroh Light out there?
I don't know.
Strohs.
Oh, yeah. I remember
right?
them. I don't know if they're still around, but I remember
Stroh
them.
Lights. And I remember Brad had about 30 of these things. I had 20. We get home at 3:34 in the morning, and we had originally had a 7 o'clock or 7:30 run with somebody, and I'm lying in bed, and it's like 7 o'clock, and he goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "But let's just go later." He goes, "No, let's fucking go. Get your shit on." So we get in the car, we go there, and we're running. We have to do it under 12 minutes. This 2-mile thing. You have to do it twice. So we're running. You're hungover. We make it the first time, right? So now we do it. I go, "Beast, you seriously got to do it?" "Yeah." I'm a 20-year-old kid. So we do it again, and I watch him. Now he has to take a shit. So you know what he does? He hit those nylons. He takes it. He wanted to make
while
the
running.
time. He's running, but he slowed down a bit, and he's taking a shit. Puts his thing back on, and he makes the 12 minutes. That's how great. That's how obsessive this guy was.
And this wasn't even the test. This was just like, training for the test.
He was like Chelios before Chelios.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What a story.
Yeah. Brad McCrimmon.
Like you're basically saying, like, can we just do it at 11? Like, why do we have to do it at 7? We got home
chance.
2 hours ago.
And, him. He's the veteran, right? And
what a great person.
Well, him and Mark Howe. Lucky I stayed beside. Sat beside him for practice. The rink.
The stalls, yeah.
So it's my 3rd year, and I'm like, I thought we had a day off. We had to come and practice. You thought you think you make it, right? And like you're bitching. This is a joke. And I'm bitching the trainers. I'm bitching everybody. I sit down. Those guys tore a strip out of me. Who the fuck do you think you are? Guys are, guys work 9 to 5. Your dad was a mechanic. Like, what would he say? And like I was like sinking. And I went through practice, and I was like, man, tail between my legs. After practice, I remember I was taking a shower, and B says, "Hey, hurry up, we're going to lunch." Went to lunch with him, Mark Howe, Dave Poole, and those guys, and they never mentioned one thing to me about that. It was their way of saying, "Hey, buddy, we get it, but But
we had to wake you up a little.
We had to wake you up. And those are the life lessons I got from those guys. Who knows if I have the wrong guys, maybe I don't play as long as I did. I don't know, but those guys really helped my career.
Did you see some Hextall snap shows over the years?
Yeah.
On and off the ice.
Yeah, he has his pads and he has everything perfectly. And if you touch, it's not big dressing rooms back then. So you go by. I remember he touches pad, he gets mad at you. Like he breaks those ESPN back then. Those are cameras, and after the game he smashes. Yeah, he was nuts, Hexy. Yeah.
What did you think as a Flyers legend yourself? I mean, when Bobby Clarke came out this year and kind of blamed him for the drafts lately, were you a little surprised by that?
Yeah, I'm a little surprised from Clarkie. Clarkie's he's a wonderful guy. He's ultimate. He was a great GM for me too, and a great player, and a great friend. Yep. I was a little surprised. Yeah. I don't know why he went that deep with it. Maybe there's some animosity there. I don't know. So I was a little surprised, like you guys.
Mark Howe, how many stories do you know about Gordy just from talking to him?
Yeah, I mean,
would you just pick his brain nonstop about that stuff?
Yeah,
he's a Hall of Famer himself.
Mark Howe's, and you can ask Wayne Gretzky, and he'll say Toch, but he'll put Mark Howe as one of the greatest defensemen he's ever played against. And when a great player, like the best say that, you know how good Mark Howe is.
What was his game like? Like, because I don't know much about him. Like more all around, not too physical, or what did he kill guys?
he physical in his own way. Just a body position physical, quick strikes physical. But he was if he wanted to cheat the game a little bit, he could be. He could have scored more and stuff. But he was all around unbelievable player. Yeah, definitely a unreal Hall of Famer.
And then February 92, you get traded to Pittsburgh. I mean, you talk about a team with Hall of Famers: Marios, Kevin Stevens, Ron Francis, Jagger, Joey Mullen, Larry Murphy, Brian Trotty, Scotty Bowman coached them. Had you ever been on a team with that much leadership ever?
And you must have hated him too.
Well, I went in there, and the week before, I broke Troy Loney's nose. So I walked in. I was thinking, first took him about a month to warm up to me, but those guys were incredible when I got there. They didn't like me when I obviously played against them, but
so they'd won the cup the year before. Yeah. They had still this basically all-star team, and I remember you were telling me when you first got there, they ended up having a players-only meeting. How long were you there for when they had the players?
It was my second game, and
I haven't done anything wrong.
Well, they were just a little over 500, that team, and they wanted to shake. That's why they made this trade, right? And they wanted to get a little tougher. And I remember we were in Calgary, and they go, "We have a team meeting with Craig Patrick," and kind of like a room like this, hotel room, and there was like 24 guys in there, and guys were like, ripping Scotty Bowman, Scotty this, and guys complaining. And Craig Patrick was a great GM, and he was listening and stuff. But the third guy in, they go, "Talk, what do you think?" And I'm like, "I just got here." And I look around, I'm just thinking about, I'm going to tell these guys the truth. I said, I look around, I go, I see Hall of Famers and All-Stars in here. I said, no offense. And I love Scotty Bowman. He's a genius. I said, a monkey could be behind the bench and coach you guys. That's what I said.
That's a speech for the boys.
I did say that. They all kind of laughed.
But you weren't even joking. Like,
I wasn't
guys.
joking. But Scotty, like, no disrespect, he was Scotty was a genius behind the bench. He was one of the best bench minds I've ever seen. But we compromised. He just didn't. He didn't come to practice.
That's really what was going on.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Scotty, leave us alone.
Yeah. Well, I just think they wanted to. Yeah, it was a compromise. And Scotty was big enough to say, yeah, no problem. But Scotty was a big reason why they won. But I'm just telling you that was the speech. I was a 2-minute speech. They all laughed, and it was like, all right, let's go to. We had a team meal. I remember that.
Were practices just a completely different pace, given going from there from Philly to Pittsburgh?
Well, I'll tell you the difference. And when you played there, you guys played an offensive game, like a speed game, right? So in Philly, it was more dump and chase, corner work, get in front of the net, box out,
grind it out,
grind it, fight, whatever. So I get there and play with Marilyn and Kevin Stevens. I get it. I get over the blue and I dump it in. I'm thinking Mario's screaming down the right side to go get the puck, and he just kind of looks at me. And now it's my turn to go get it.
I'll get it.
So finally, the third time I do it, and he goes, "This isn't Philly, buddy. We don't dump pucks in. We hold on to pucks. We make plays." So that was my lesson. Okay, you're right. I got to start making more plays. If I want to play on that line, you better start making some plays, because I was programmed to mostly dump the puck.
Yeah, that was your game.
That was our game.
That.
Yeah.
And then at that point, what's Yogs like? Because he can't really pull the stuff that I guess he was pulling on later with the Rangers when he's doing his own drills during team meetings, because Lemieux was the alpha, or was it still kind of Jaromir Jagr in his own world then?
Yeah, Yogs was like, he was a young kid, and they loved.
He's living with his parents, right?
Living with his parents. They, you know the story. They had a birthday party for him. The sports cafe had 1,000 people. And we had a lot of married guys. They didn't go. I went. I just got traded there, and there was like 990 girls. And I'm there. I'm like 28, 9 years. I'm hanging out with a 20-year-old, 21-year-old, and it's like.
I mean, how did they get that many girls at this bar?
Buddy, I'm telling you, Yogs, he was the man back then. Oh yeah,
that was before Tinder and all these apps were created.
Well, he didn't need Tinder.
Would you guys give it to him about a salad, or was everyone kind of?
Yeah, they were a little jealous then.
You know what, Yogs? The best thing that Craig Patrick did, he got Yuri Herdina, a fellow Czech, because before he was kind of reclusive. He didn't smile much. He was homesick until his parents came, and then once we got Yuri Herdina, this guy went from here to here.
Was it very similar to watching the dynamic? Maybe because you got there a little bit later between Sid and Gino, but Mario and Yogs, was it very similar in the sense of one was a North American guy, true leader, very calm, always held himself a certain way, and Yogs kind of had this flair about him. And listen, we don't need to get into it, but there's obviously stories off the ice about the way that he would either gamble or maybe like to spend money and fancy cars, like that type of thing.
Yeah, Yogs will tell you. He's not sure of that. Like Mario was like he was the man, right? So Yogs was a young kid coming up, like Sid and Gino, 1A, 1B type of thing. And those two guys, a lot of competition. People know that. Like Gino wants to be, it's always Sid. So it would, get it, I don't want to say upset, but he'd like, I want to be.
I want my respect.
I think it drove him a little bit.
I think it drove him a little bit. Where Mario, like Yogs, knew that he is the man. Like there's a little bit of difference.
Yeah, a little bit more conceding. Were you there when he didn't get named to the top 100 players of all time?
Yes. Was it what, 4 years ago? Was it 5 years ago?
Was he fucking irate about that?
Well, I know some people in his circle say he was pretty upset. And
that's a joke that he wasn't on there.
Yeah, I'd be pretty upset if I was him too. Yeah, he didn't think he got respected there.
I mean, you've watched a lot of hockey. When he was at the top of his game, do you think that individually he could almost surpass Sid in a sense of just his sole dominance?
I don't think so in the sense, because I look at the whole overall game, the gamemanship and everything. Not saying that Gino doesn't have it, but I think like Gino, he could take over games. He was just a beast out there. But I think the way Sid played the game, Sid, he takes draws on his own end last minute. He'll lock down another team's line. I was talking to you about that with Matthews and those guys. Those guys are great players, but I want to see those guys in a playoff series when it's 2-1 for 10 minutes, just lock the other team's best player.
And not even worry about scoring.
Like they're playing Florida and Barkov, and my job, we're up 2 right now, and Burnett's playing the shit out of Barkov, and
shut him down.
Just Matthews head to head, and that's what Sid did, and he wouldn't get a sniff. And instead of trying to score a goal and make it 3-1, I'm not saying not trying to score a goal.
No, I'm just trying to pick information.
Just more calculated.
Yeah.
I think that
makes sense.
And I'd love to talk to Sid about this someday, but the year I was there that we lost, I think Sid saw Zetterberg and like he was like, holy shit. Like, and it was obviously Lidstrom matched up against him, but same with Zetterberg. And I think part of it was like, oh my God, like this is the style it takes to win the cup. And next year he got it done. But that was the true sign of like, oh my God, I'm going to shut down anyone. Like I remember Zetterberg just in Sid's grill the whole time. And obviously he ended up doing it to get 3 of his own. Yeah.
You know, as a player and a coach, like certain players, then they're stars. But if they don't get a point, you can feel them on the bench. They start to get antsy. They start to swoop a little bit more. They start to hang out in the offensive zone when the puck's going the other way. You can just feel it. They want to get – it's subconscious, but they're great players and they want to score so bad. Where Sid, I remember when Game 6 against – this is my best Sid story. We're playing Nashville Game 6. It was a tight game. It was 0-0. And Sid was playing great. Like people would think, he doesn't have a point. He might have one shot, but he was playing great. And him and Hornquist, he got an assist on Hornquist's goal for us to win the last minute. Like that's the thing I love about him. He didn't get antsy. He wasn't trying to press. And I think that's certain. Some of the star players have to understand that if you just stay with the game will come to you.
When you guys won the cup in '92, did you guys start getting a day with the cup back then, or what was your celebration like?
Well, we took it to this club, and it was just.
Diesel?
Show.
Was Diesel a thing then?
There was this thing in Harmerville. It was just, it was one of those huge, 1,500 people nightclub.
Actually, Bill 21st birthday.
Bill Cowher was out with us. The Steeler coach. Bill Cowher. Yeah.
Really?
Were you the year where it got stuck at the bottom of the pool?
No, it was the year before. Yeah. We had a couple of. It was raining that night, and the whole bar was outside, and it was like mud wrestling. You ever see? What's that movie there? Old School. Is it Old School? Blue? We had a blue. We had a boy Blue. Kevin Stevens was wrestling with this guy looked like Blue in the mud, and he was just, and the cup was right there.
Maybe we should throw the KY Gel wrestling on hold a little bit.
Yeah.
Not to bring up a bad memory, but we interviewed Darius Kasparaitis a couple weeks ago, brought the '93 series, Pittsburgh versus the Islanders. Was that the biggest upset you were ever a part of?
That team was better.
Obviously on the wrong side.
Team was better, and we were out shooting them, and we just couldn't. We got antsy. I'll tell you right, we got antsy.
Start squeezing the sticks a little,
the stick, and started doing stuff that we never did the year before.
Healy was unreal, though.
Healy was unreal. And Kevin Stevens got hurt, devastating injury.
Terrible.
Yeah, that was definitely we thought we were having actually, if you ask Chris Chelios, because Montreal ended up winning that year, right? Was it Montreal? Yeah.
Yes.
So they were asked Shelley about it because we were going to play them, and when the Islanders scored, they went nuts. Their whole team went crazy. They didn't have to play us.
Took down Goliath.
What's that?
They took down Goliath.
Yeah, and we took care of them during the year. Like I think we'd have, no offense, we would have beat them. But yeah.
Another goalie, somewhat of a snapshot, Tom Barrasso, you played with in Pittsburgh.
I heard he is a character, this guy.
Thurston, we used to call him Thurston Howell III. He was just, he's very, he had the
proper.
I don't think he had a pair of jeans. We used to bust him. He never owned a pair of jeans. He'd always have the khakis.
So he was like Lundqvist before Lundqvist.
Yeah, but
he didn't look like Lundqvist.
Like Lundqvist has got he's more like the Docker, whatever Dockers and stuff. The what do you call it? What's that?
Gucci?
Shirt? No, not Gucci, but Lacoste. Is Lacoste? The more
preppy.
Yeah, more preppy look.
So I heard a story about how, and you might not have been around when this happened. It was at a rookie party, and because he was a little bit pompous, he was,
Oh yeah, I was there.
Okay, well, let's hear it.
So we were ordering the Louis, right? And he was a Screaming Eagle wine. Was it Screaming Eagle, or was one of these wines that
Opus One, all the big dogs?
But it was like $1,000 bottle of wine, and he would always he'd like to send wine back. Like I've been in the NHL. Maybe once I've seen somebody that year. He sent about 7 bottles back. We're at the rookie meal, and he starts he sips. He goes, "This isn't it." So what they did at Louis the 13th or whatever. That's Louis
the 14th.
Or 14th, whatever. And they poured some other cheap stuff, and they go, Oh, here it is, Tommy. That's it. Nothing like a good Louis. And so that was the that's the stuff.
Hey, did you guys break it to him at the dinner
later because he was playing too good? Well, he just no, he didn't. He just said it was definitely Louis. He thinks we lied. So.
All right, then you get traded to LA for Luc Robitaille. Were you kind of getting sick of getting traded at this point? I know I always say when you get traded, that means someone else wants you, but you're also another team's getting rid of you. What were you getting frustrated at this point, or no?
Yeah. Well, the problem is Craig Patrick knew he'd have to. We were going to go through contract, and he said, I love Craig, so I knew what he was trying to do. You don't want to get moved all the time. Pittsburgh and Philly are the great franchise. I'd rather have stayed those two places. And then I went to LA where, the bankruptcy with Bruce McNall, and it was kind of
crazy story with that. Huh?
LA was down on the.
What's the story?
Well, nobody knew, right? Everyone thought he was loaded, and all of a sudden there was he went to jail. I think didn't he?
Went to jail. Yeah, bank fraud and all that.
So, what did the league take back the team?
Well, another guy came in. They brought another guy. I forget his name, but it wasn't. They didn't have the money that Bruce supposedly had, and that was a whole different vibe in LA. Like we just weren't that good. And then then I got traded to Boston. So, but I had fun. That's where I really met Wayne.
I was gonna say, is that when Gretzky became boys? Yeah,
he was incredible. Like we saw movie premieres I went to. It was great.
Just riding around with
him. I ran his coattails, man. We'd hey,
all the way to TNT.
He had to do a couple of things in Vegas for Nortel. He had to. They pay him like whatever, $150,000 to go speak and do some questions. He goes, he has to go to Vegas. You want to go? Yeah, I'll go. So I took more jets that year and a half.
Must have been a few actresses when you were playing in LA, huh? I would imagine.
Yeah, back then, Kate Hudson used to hang out, right? Is it Kate Hudson?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she was around.
Is that Goldie Hawn's daughter?
Goldie's daughter, yeah.
Kurt
not
Russell.
Kurt.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's Goldie's daughter, not Kurt's daughter, though, yeah.
Kurt Russell and all those girls on Buffy the Vampire Slayer girls, they were around. So...
But I mean, despite moving around so much and maybe the team not being as good as the prior teams, like you got to play with arguably the two greatest hockey players of all time in Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux. Do people often ask you, what are the differences between the two?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Mario's 6'6" and Wayne's 6 foot, so the height difference and the reach, that's a big advantage for Mario, but. For they're the same guys though. Like they love getting japped in the room. They don't want to be treated as Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux.
They were both really one of the boys.
One of the boys. Like both. Like I can't say enough. Like they, Wayne hated the fact that everybody was nervous around him. So Marty McSorley was really good then because he'd rip them right in front of guys.
Really?
Like, oh yeah.
Because I was gonna say, who was the guy that would always give it to him?
Yeah, like he'd go, hey, Gretz, tell us all the actors that Janet used to date. Right in front of the room. And Wayne would just laugh, and all the guys were like, oh my God, I can't believe he said that. But it actually was great for the guys because it loosened the guys up.
As you kept playing longer and longer, I mean, you had Mike Keenan, you had Scotty Bowman, all these coaches. Did you think, I want to be a coach? Like, was that something at the end, the back nine, you started thinking, all right, I want to stay in the game that way?
You know what? When I retired, I just kind of wanted to chill. I just didn't want to do anything. But after 3 months of that, because that's
I know you can't chill that long.
I'm a structured guy. I need structure. I'm going to get in trouble. If I don't have structure in my life, I'll get in trouble. So I said. So actually, Pierre Lacroix from Colorado called me in December and said, "Hey, we want to be an assistant coach." And I'm like, "Man, yeah. You see that team? Peter Forsberg, Sakic.
Oh my God.
Blake. Adam Foote, Hayduk, Tanguay. That was an all-star. And then lucky I get to run the power play there. Like talk about monkey behind a bench. I was that monkey because I had Pittsburgh and I go to Colorado with that power play and we were like 30%. Like it was incredible that power play.
I mean we haven't gotten a chance to talk to him. Like you don't hear I guess a ton of stories about Forsberg, but just like your time with him there and like what's his demeanor off the ice? He seems like just like the coolest guy in the world.
Real cool guy. They actually back then. So it was in 2000. For some reason, he had paper. You have the paper checks, not the direct deposit.
Yeah.
And I remember he left a check in his visor, and it was in his visor so long it discolored. It was he was making back then $8 million. It's like a $400,000 check, but because of the sun and all the for a month, and the finally the accounting goes, hey, Peter, you haven't cashed that check yet? Oh, and he kind of searched around his car, and it was in his car for like 2 months, like a $500,000 check. That's the way he was. He actually invested in Crocs too.
Yeah. So were you on the team when apparently somebody came in and just threw them all on the ground? Everybody, what the fuck are these things?
Yeah, he was one of the guys that invested. He made a ton of money.
That's how he made most of his dough.
So
exactly, yes.
So my understanding is like, it came down, but part of the agreement of him investing, I think he ended up throwing in like $250,000 or $500,000, but he asked for the Scandinavian rights, if I'm saying that properly. Basically,
did something like that. You're right, Biz.
And said, I'll invest in this, but I want the rights to overseas. And right afterward, it ends up popping off, and he probably made just as much, investing in the Crocs as he did playing hockey his entire career.
The amount of nurses that wear them, that's like the game changer. Everyone in hospitals wears Crocs. It's crazy. Yeah. That's how he made the dough. Yeah. But he was so dominant. And talk about a guy who, I mean, people talk about Mario's injuries, but Forsberg, if he could have stayed healthy, who knows?
If I saw like a pay-per-view event, you got, okay, I'd like to see this guy fight this guy, Probert and Domi, and then maybe see like, Mario one-on-one with a goalie or Wayne do his thing. I'd like to see Peter Forsberg and Jágr go in a corner on a one-on-one game.
Just so big.
Two best guys I've ever seen. You can't get the puck off.
And you've coached Sid in saying that.
And you know what? If Sid's in that bracket, he might be the third seed. Because Sid's amazing. Those two guys they could play. They talk about the game keep away. You can't get the puck, and I think it's just their position. They have the big ass, and they can position themselves, and their puck strength.
Pretty cool for you to get to go back to be a Flyer before you retired. That last year and a half, because your last season I saw you played 14 games. Were you hurt or?
Yeah, I had a bad knee.
It wasn't necessarily that. You still wanted to play and nobody would take you. It was like you knew you were done.
Well, actually, in 03, 04, there was a couple of teams wanted to sign me, and I just didn't feel, half decent money too. I just knew I couldn't give what I could give, and I just didn't want to be that guy. Just take the money. I swear to God, I'm not trying to sound cheesy. I believe you. To take the money. But that last year, the year before, we had this Eastern Conference Finals, was one of the top 3 best years of my. Not so much statistically. For being a close team. That was when Lindros left, remember, at the beginning of the year. And our team was so close. Keith Jones, he was funniest guy I ever played with. Keith Jones.
He's a comedian.
Craig Berube. We had such a lot of fun.
Team?
Mark Recchi, Johnny LeClaire. And we had fun, too. Like, when you say, guys, hey, let's go for lunch or meet at the bar. We had literally 12, 15 guys every single time. It's none of these 3, 4 guys. That team was so close, and we almost went to the finals. We lost in Game 7 to New Jersey.
Oh my God! Well, I mean, what a run you had! What a career! And I think now, I mean, taking the year off, doing the TV, which has gone so well, like. Definitely not done with coaching yet, though. You think you want to do it again?
I'd like to. Yeah, the right situation. You got to. GM and the coach the communication has to be dialed in if you want to win. Like Cooper and Breezewell, and Eisner before, they were dialed in. There's a reason why these guys are successful, because you have to be dialed with GM, and you got to get good assistant coaches. Good head coach has to have really good assistant coaches.
And they leave that up to you to pick, right?
Well, usually the GM wants his guy.
Yeah,
and then you pick your staff. But most good GMs will say, pick your staff. But some GMs, they want their guy there.
And when you mentioned like last year, you had some interviews, and you've done obviously interviews before for be a head coach. Like, what's the GM asking you? It's just about what you think that team can do, what systems you want to play. Like, how much are you preparing going into an interview to be a head coach?
Yeah, but I think everybody says the same thing, right?
True.
I want a team that plays hard and culture. Like everybody says the same thing, and the interviews I had, and I told those guys, we'll talk I can tell you any system you want. I can talk what Washington does and what it depends. It really comes down to getting 24 guys to buy into your system. You can win with any system. It's buying in. To me, if you're not a partner with a player nowadays, you got no shot. You have to be a partner with a player. You have to have a partnership. Like, you can't be a dictator. You got to treat everybody a little bit different. And you got the door has got to be open. You got to communicate. Like, I really don't think you can go 3 days without actually talking to a guy individually, whether it's about his family or about a power play. Sometimes you go, busy. I'm sure when you played, nobody talks to you for a week. I remember
having no clue what
I'll say.
I'm sure you play with coaches like, man, the guy. Like, I think you have to talk to the guy. I think you can't always talk to the same guys, right? And that's just what I believe in.
Yeah. Do you feel comfortable saying who interviewed you for an assistant coaching job? Like you have to keep that under wraps? Like,
No, I mean, like, Toronto and Boston called, and I was talking to Pitt.
So does the chance at a Stanley Cup ring, is that more enticing to you than maybe the opportunity for maybe salary wise or control wise? And what you're going to do as an assistant, like whether they're going to say, "Hey, you're going to be the third guy up in the sky," or are you going to be running?
I'm not being a third guy.
Right there.
Fuck no, man.
There you go. Well, there you go.
Talk. I mean, we appreciate.
No. I was just asking. Maybe you want to do that, so I didn't know.
Well, so tomorrow night when we go on the show, you're going to be the sound. You're going to go just do. You're going to go do the what?
All right, it was a stupid question. All right, Toch.
Well, Toch, what a career, and you obviously have done it as a head coach too, and Stanley Cup winner as an assistant. So we thank you very much for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
lot of fun, boys. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll get you on again. Awesome. Hopefully when you're a head coach.
All right.
No, then he won't come on with us.
Yeah.
Huge thanks to Rick Tocchet for meeting up with us down in Atlanta. Great guy. His interview was awesome. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Want to let you know that his interview is also brought to you by TaylorMade. Are you ready for the ultimate giveaway? We're teaming up with our friends at TaylorMade for the ultimate season opener sweepstakes and giving away 50 prizes to 50 different winners. Prizes include everything from a grand prize full bag of new TaylorMade clubs to a new stealth driver to TP5X golf balls and everything in between. Now through May 10th, go to TaylorMadeGolf.com/Barstool Sweeps to enter and celebrate the season's first major and the unofficial start to the golf season. The Sweeps is running across a number of podcasts within the Barstool Network, and we want our loyal followers to win. So head over to TaylorMadeGolf.com/Barstool Sweeps right now for your chance to win, and be sure to let them know you heard it from Spittin Chiclets. Make this golf season better and fill your bag with the best. Of course, that's TaylorMade. Go to TaylorMadeGolf.com/Barstool Sweeps right now for your chance to win big.
Those are the sticks that I'm using in the Sandbaggers, boys. Ooh. Check out the new carbon wood, too. I'll be fucking piping drives down the middle like I've been doing the last few. TNT Biz is now a golf expert. And, Whit, I would say playing, definitely, we're about even about what we're contributing the last two. Would you not agree? Up until now, but till the one Wednesday. Everybody can reshuffle the deck after that.
Yeah, I was very, very pleased. Very pleased. What was you were hitting your driver phenomenal. I love where your game's at, bro. I've always been a very supportive teammate for you.
All right.
You know that's true. You haven't been very supportive of me. Yes,
all right, boys. Kind of a wild clip in the Bruins Ottawa game last week. I never seen it before. The referee, he kind of got in the way of the puck. Then he actually kicked it to Bruins defenseman Mike Riley, as if he was playing it. You ever see this happen before? A guy deliberately kicked it right to a guy, or at least appeared to deliberately do it.
I've seen it a few times over the years. Maybe not that obvious, but I think that's just plain old common sense.
Okay.
That's exactly where the puck was going. He got in the way. It was going the same speed, and he gave it right over to the guy. Would you not agree that he pretty much timed the pass the way that it would have went over that D-man anyway?
I thought it made total sense because he blocked the pass. He knew 100% it was going to go right there, so I'll just make my wrong right, and I'll kick it over to him. I mean, people went nuts about it, but those people are idiots because literally the guy made the perfect reverse. The Bruins defenseman made the perfect reverse. The ref got in the way. At that point, he's like, oh, shit. So I'm just going to fix my mistake and do what would have happened anyways had I not been standing there.
All right. Well said. Gee, your boy Eric Haller. Absolutely on fire since you pumped his tires.
So are we now going with it? It's his boy, Hollywood, even though he dogged him?
I never dogged him. He's Hollywood,
You said
baby.
They couldn't win the Stanley. All right, take that back. You said they were in a big load of trouble with their second line.
I don't recall saying that. Do you have the
Wow.
I'm going to be honest. I just thought it was some tough love in a sense. If they get him going, that could be an answer.
We go way back. Look me in the eyes. The day of the deadline. What did you fucking say, dude? Don't do this. Don't do this.
God, my memory is so cloudy.
He did say it like that. I was defending you fucker.
What?
I was defending him. I didn't think that he worded it the way that you're saying. So you were
he said they're screwed with Haller as their second line center. That's me paraphrasing. That's what he said.
No way.
You know you're such a liar. I'm gonna get a fucking lie.
I looked at it more like tough love, but All right.
Best second line center in the NHL.
Avery will tell me. If I hadn't said I hated Avery so much, he probably would have remembered this and backed me up. Where's Sean?
Wow, got the wit dog all fight up. So much for that quiet second half, huh? All right, boys, moving right along.
Now he's laughing over there. He knows what I'm talking about. It's right.
All right, have you had a
now
chance?
He's got a Holla jersey on. He was dogging him to my face.
All right, have you had a chance to have a close eye on the Bruins over the last little bit? Like, are you liking where the team's at? What are you thinking the weaknesses? How confident are you going into playoffs about the Bees? Like, I need the Bees breakdown from the Bees reporter, the rear.
I wouldn't call them a top echelon contender. I do think they are a contender. Lena Selmak, their goal, he had to leave the game the other night. He got hit with a slap shot in the mask. Hopefully it was just precautionary. The power play has been trashed without Pasta lately, but I think I don't worry about that. Once the playoffs start, man, it's a whole reset. It's like pushing the reset button on the whole season. I'm confident they can make a run, Biz, but also I don't know who they're going to draw in the first round. And like I've said before, you can have a great team, and what alluded to it earlier between the St. Louis and Minnesota series we're going to get. Sometimes very good teams, great teams lose in the first round. It doesn't mean that they had an awful season or they were bad. It can happen. But if the Bruins lost in the first round to, a bona fide contender, it would suck, but it wouldn't surprise me. Also, if they go on a run, it wouldn't. I think they got a pretty solid team. The window here with Bergeron, who knows how long he's going to play for? It's closing. Whether we get, this is the last year, whether we get another year or two out of him, who knows? But so long story longer, Biz, I don't have them as a top contender, but yeah, I got money on them. I'm rooting for them. It wouldn't surprise me if they go on a run.
Quickly, who's your first round matchup? Your dream? Who do you want?
I mean, it's looking like Carolina right now, and I'm fine with that. I mean, I know Freddie Anderson has been much better this year than he was with Toronto last year, but I'm fine with taking Carolina on. I think the Bruins match up with them well. Historically, they've played them fine, and I'll put either Swayman or Mark against Freddie and Ranta. I'll take that.
I would not want the Leafs. I think this should be. I don't know.
It was looking like it might happen with, but I think it's going to take too much for that to happen now, given the way the spots have kind of flip flopped a little. I think they're going to.
Rangers don't scare me either, though. Rangers, you guys were talking about how scary the New York Rangers are. They don't scare me one bit.
Wow,
not one bit.
Good point, G. They could end up playing the Rangers. Yeah, and that's another team. I don't know, Boston. They always seem to give him a good game, but Shesterkin's been outstanding. Best goalie.
We're gonna have to prove that. We're gonna have to make Grinelli our gambling mule against Avery. What should we bet Avery if we bet him with Grinelli up as our mule?
I won't embarrass him on YouTube and Twitter ever again.
I don't know.
That would be your promise to him.
The worry about Pastrnak is that whatever injury this is, it's core. So it's like, I feel like that's going to be something that's pretty hard to come back from and be at the top level.
Well, right? I think Larkin just ended up having season-ending injury for an abdominal issue. So like you're saying, like sometimes those are things that can linger and usually take something surgical in order to repair or a lot of rest.
And didn't Pasta have the same type injury last year? Wasn't that core?
I don't
know. He was battling something last playoffs too, I remember.
I don't know if they would consider it core, but like towards the end of my career, bilateral sports hernia surgery. So it's like right up.
That would be core. That would be core, I think.
Yeah, and I know, I mean, it's becoming more common. And like I had to have meshing put in, and by the time that gets settled in, it's pretty much a good 6-month recovery. So sometimes guys get them done, the meshing rips. I don't know if he addressed it with surgery in the offseason, if you said that he went through something last year, but to reiterate your point, it's kind of like a high ankle sprain. You just never know, and you never know how long it's going to keep bugging you.
I got the mesh in me, Biz. Not from a sports hernia, just your traditional hernia. Because I don't think I did enough sports to get a sports hernia, but yeah, it takes a little while to get used to that.
A sport to get a sports hernia.
All right, there's an echo in here. Pretty cool moment. Actually, a couple of them. Tampa Bay versus Anaheim last week. They had Corey Perry go out and take the face-off versus Ryan Getzlaf, his former compadre out in Anaheim. And then the whole team lined up afterwards, Tampa, to shake his hand and dap him up. Pretty cool stuff. I know you guys saw that.
It was awesome. You saw Stamkos and Getzlaf, bunch of international games together, give each other a big hug. Perry was the last one to go. Very impressed. Perry snapped it back on him. But maybe it was a little bit of a tie, and the winger came in from Tampa and won the draw. So I'm sure both those guys were giving an all-out effort to try to win a draw. I'm sure Getzy was like, what are you doing in here, Worm? You're a winger. But it's cool to see, Getzlaf's retirement little press conference where his kids were in jerseys. I think it was his dad was in a jersey. it was really cool. And like the thing about him is he's not somebody that's like comfortable is not the right word, but he doesn't want the spotlight. He doesn't want the big Derek Jeter announce my retirement swing the entire season. Like, he's more about, I think he's going to take it all in and play these last few games as well as he can, play as hard as he can. We talked about him trying to fight Svechnikov the week before. And now you see like these teams like showing their respect and letting him know that he's a true competitor and a great of the game in the last 15, 20 years that deserves the respect of all these teams he's played against. And he's probably like not that comfortable with it. I think just the type of guy he is, he's pretty laid back, doesn't think anything special of himself. I would say really has no ego on him, Ryan Getzlaf. So now you see these things happening, which they should happen. And these teams should pay their respects to him as a player in his career. But it's like, I don't think he's like in for all that. I think he just kind of like, all right, I'll do it.
And if anything, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he was talked into announcing it when he did, because now he gets if he stays healthy, because he was injured coming into this last little stretch here, he gets 2 more home games. So they'll probably sell him out and he'll get the proper send off that he deserves. Yeah. You get people, enough time to spread the word. And I couldn't agree more with you. He probably is the type of guy, like I would rather just announce it at the end of the season and dip out.
Yeah, that's a good point. He might have been just totally and never had to see anyone again. Like, and some people may want all the fanfare, and he's just like, I'm good. I just made like $100 million. I'm gonna play golf every day. He has like 15 kids too, I think.
Yeah.
The Lightning also re-up backup goalie Brian Elliott for another year at $900,000. He's another member of that famed 03 draft class that's still playing today. He was taken in the 9th round by Ottawa in the draft's penultimate pick. 8 players taken in the last round played at least 159 games, too, from that draft. That's pretty impressive. I know they don't do 9 rounds anymore, but for that many guys to get that many games, pretty indicative of how deep.
Remarkable. That's shocking, actually.
Yeah. Remarkable.
There was a nice read about Moose, too. I sent it to you guys in The Athletic. Pretty cool story about him. And there was another story about the Lightning. They're said to be the sharpest dressed team in the league. Sweden, obviously, those guys dress great. They're a huge influence in the room. Victor Hedman says Austin Matthews is probably the most fashionable guy in the league, Biz. And I guess Sergachev bought ostrich boots for the outdoor game down in Nashville, but they also had him in a pair of Jinko jeans. What are they called? Is it Jinko jeans? Gee, those fucking big, hideous ones. So I don't know. Have you guys heard this? Tampa's the best dressed team in the league, Biz? And is that true, you think, or what?
I think of Killorn. I think of a very well-dressed guy. I think of Stammer, Hedman, yes. And yeah, going down the list, I would probably have to say they probably would have stuck out as one of the top tier ones. Other teams, who would you think of who would be the most fashionable?
I don't know. I think the only reason you're even thinking of Tampa is because they've played so many games in the last few years that you see them walking into the arena so often. Whereas like other teams, you just haven't seen that many outfits. But then you also got a guy like Maroon who's walking in with the fedora with, he's kind of like a little tiny bit overweight. So he's got that look going for him too. So they got a lot of different types of looks walking in. I feel like we also see Boston a lot, and then you see Pasta with all the fancy ones. I feel like Marchand's always got the black on black with the Johnny Cash looking like the villain.
Toronto, Biz, how can you leave out Toronto? Like William Nylander, Matthews, like they're stacked there too.
Yeah, so I'm not the hugest hype beast. They get a little bit more into like the newer trends that are very
ridiculous.
Trendy and not as classic looking. But yeah, I mean, I'm okay with some of the stuff that they rock.
What's the most you ever seen a guy drop on a suit with?
Biz's $3,000 cowboy hat.
No. I don't even think it was that much.
Suit?
But anyway.
Yeah, like a suit or a spree, perhaps.
I don't know. That guy in Montreal was taking everyone to the cleaners, and everyone had the same suits and ties. Remember that, Biz?
Yep.
No pun intended.
I can't think of anything. Although the one funny picture of the Lightning, it was Kucherov, Sergachev, and Vasilevsky. They looked like city slickers. They looked like Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future when he goes back to the old Western days and he's got like plastic boots on. They looked good, but it was just hilarious. These 3 Russians in the jeans.
I bet you the most expensive suits were probably in Malkin's closet.
I was just gonna say Gino probably had some sick ones
because he would have new Louis Vuittons on every couple weeks. he would spend it on clothes. Now, as far as the suits are concerned, he wouldn't have a ton of them, but they would all be high level, like Tom Ford or like Dolce & Gabbana. I don't know what other high end.
So
brands.
in my opinion, Biz, like spending thousands and thousands of dollars on a suit is just so stupid, because I just think there's a suit you could spend 10 grand on, and then you could probably buy a very, very similar suit for $1,500 and look the exact same to the layman eye, if that makes it's one of those things.
More variety than spending 10 on one suit. I would say that Henrik Lundqvist probably has some very expensive suits. He
might be the best dressed NHL player of all time.
It might be like a bottle of wine. You can't tell the difference between a $1,000 suit and a $10,000 suit, similar like a $30 bottle of wine and a $300 bottle of wine.
Yeah, I can on wine. I can.
Ooh, Lordy.
I don't have scumbag taste like
you know who was one of the classier dressers? Zetterberg.
Yeah.
He would always have that perfectly manicured beard. He kind of looks like Jake Gyllenhaal a little.
Yeah.
We went on a golf trip in Europe. It was like the perfect, the 55-degree European day. He's got the sweater on, like it's just the tight gray pants. Like I'm kind of getting hard talking about him. Ooh. Fucking Zetterberg. Ooh. He always looked unreal.
Who wore the ugliest suit you ever seen? Whitney?
I would say Rob Scuderi. We've talked about him before. He just didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I still think that when I had my suit, when I got traded to Edmonton, and just so happened to have like a dark navy blue suit with the faintest, like lightest orange pinstripe. That sounds so ridiculous, but if you saw me from a distance, you wouldn't even know that like the color was in the stripe, but that there was even like a pinstripe, because it was so faint. But then sitting down on the plane, and Horkoff's like, "Oh, that's nice. You got an Oilers colored suit that you're wearing to the first game as an Oiler." Like that was probably an ugly suit looking back on that now. I caught some heat for that.
I would say easily the worst dresser I've ever played with is Radoslav Klesla, and the fact that he made as much as he did and dressed this bad, he was just like cargo shorts that would go past his knee with the string hanging down. Also the ones that would have it looked like an old quilt, and it would have all the different patches. Those types of shorts. Yeah. He would always be wearing runners, but with ankle socks that came up a little bit, but they were white ankle socks. It looked like he washed and dried with the black load. Sometimes exposing the Nike check mark, and he was wearing Adidas shoes, which also kind of drives me nuts. It drives me bananas. He would have that get up on the lower half with sometimes like a Tommy Bahama button up that was maybe one size too big. It was just like Aeropostale or an Abercrombie t-shirt every now and then wouldn't have surprised me. I was just flabbergasted. The combos that he would have on too, just like all the colors and shit. I had these Nike really
golf
messy.
shoes once, these sick Nike golf shoes, and I somehow only brought socks that had an Adidas logo on them, and I was like, all right, no. So I went in the pro shop, and they only had socks with a FootJoy logo on them. And I said, no. So I wore them barefoot. It was 95 degrees, ruined the shoes. I don't think I ever wore them again because I was unwilling. Because if you're wearing Nike shoes or Adidas shoes and you wear another company's socks, that for me is one of the worst looks in the world.
You should be shot into outer space. I think that would be a fair punishment.
Biz, I was in CVS the other day picking up a script, and a woman behind me said, "Hey, where'd you get those sneakers? I really like them." I bought my Asics that you bought me in Toronto.
Really?
So, yeah, I swear to
God.
God.
Right, don't be wearing those with Nike or Adidas ankle socks.
That's not a problem. I don't own any logoed socks.
Dude, he wears like Walmart tube socks. He's not having logoed socks.
I wear Bobo logo socks. No, not even kidding, Biz. Like a lot of people did, and even that night in Toronto, everybody who came to the line was dap me up for the sneakers you bought me. So good style.
They look good, buddy.
Classy move, Biz. Nice kicks, all right. I like them.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you. All right, moving right along. We got a few bullet points to get to here. The heart and soul of the Montreal Canadiens made his first start of the season Friday, and the Isles did beat him 4-0. But it was nice to see Carey Price back out in the ice. The fans gave him a huge, hearty applause. No shock there. And then Canadian Michael Pezzetta, he got 2 games for an illegal check to the head of TJ Oshie. Again, seemed about right. Did you think he deserved more wit on that one? I mean, it was kind of one of those flybys, catches him in the head.
No, pretty much a standard 2-game suspension right there.
Yeah, pretty much so. Let's see. Vancouver forward Bo Horvat. He suffered a lower body injury Friday night, and the team said he'll be reevaluated in about 2 weeks, which I guess means he's pretty much done for the season because the season's over in 2 weeks. And did you see this clip? Some dopey Canucks fan throw a hot dog on the ice in Phil Kessel's direction. Like, can we put this fucking Phil Kessel hot dog shit to bed?
No.
Steve Simmons lied and made this stuff up. Like, nobody found
That's
this
a
fucking hot
complete
dog
lie.
vendor.
That whole article was a lie.
Yeah. Somebody double checked on it. They found no evidence of this hot dog vendor anywhere near on the route where Phil Kessel would have gone to his fucking practice or game or whatever the story was.
But I think once Kessel put it in the Stanley Cup, it was kind of like forever going to be a thing.
Right. He definitely, but I think he was just trolling Simmons. But yeah, you're right. All it did is feed into the fucking story more. But I mean, honestly, throwing a hot dog on the ice, that's just fucking stupid, dude. You wasted $10 on a hot dog just to throw at a guy. I don't know. Grow the fuck up, dude.
Is that a grind my gears?
I was just wondering. Is this no? You got another one?
Well, I had one pre-prepared. Yeah, pre-prepared already. That one just kind of come up spur of the moment. But
I think it's
all right. Let me ask you a question. If you were sitting there and some idiot, as you would describe him, goes out there and throws a $10 hot dog at Kessel, and he's walking back up, are you standing up and saying you're a fucking idiot? Or are you just sitting there with your hands?
No, because you don't know what kind of fucking people you can encounter in society these days. And I'm not going to get fucking punched or stabbed or shot because I yelled at a guy for fucking wasting his own money on a hot dog. It's just stupid to throw it on the ice. I mean, it's fine to throw hats on the ice, or if your team sucks and you want to throw your jersey out in the fourth game of the year. But I don't know. I just think it's stupid. And yeah, the whole thing that it didn't even happen. I don't know. I mean, not that Castle's my boy or anything, but I don't know. I'm so sick.
Well, you seemed worked up about it. I thought he was your boy.
You know me. It doesn't take much. Our pal Kevin Weeks confirmed Mikey Grinelli's earlier report that the Bruins were going to host the Pittsburgh Penguins at the next Winter Classic here in Boston. So, congrats on that scoop, Kevin Weeks.
Oh, here we go. We got to make sure we get our credit, guys.
Oh, G's credit. I'm not. It's. G broke it. I'm giving.
G, where did you hear that this was going to happen? Obviously, you have a source. Can you not reveal your source?
Can't reveal my source. Definitely can't reveal him.
Big J.
But I trusted him. I just ran with it. And if it missed, we're the rumor boys. You know.
So
I doubled down. I doubled down in Vegas. No one gave me credit the first time, and I said, not only is it going to be at Fenway, I guarantee it's Bruins versus Penguins.
Pretty sure I just gave you credit, but
yep. Oh yeah.
You don't count though. He means outside people.
I'm sure we'll be acting up that weekend, Biz, in my backyard here in Boston.
I love that I don't have to travel after Christmas next year. That's great. That's going to be a time and a half here. Yeah, Biz, I don't skate, but there's definitely going to be a Penguins Bruins alumni game. So you got to play for the Pens. And then maybe they'll let me coach.
Yeah, I'll need a full-time. I'll need a full-time trainer 5 days a week. I'll have to get back on the blades.
You'll have your breathing coach come to the game.
Yep. Oxygen tank on the bench. I would consider playing in that. And that's enough time to get prepared. And once the Chicklets Cup comes and I'm in shape, all right. But you got to remember, they got a lot of good alumni. They might say, we're not fucking inviting this loser who played 15 games for us that we had to get rid of because he kept asking Mario out to lunch and he had to fucking pigeon toss him.
This clip of Brady Kachuk and Josh Norris that was going around, I guess everyone thought it was karaoke, but I looked like they were jamming with the band. The band invited them up on stage. Dude, this Mr. Brightside song, is this like the anthem for your generation? I swear to God, every fucking time I see a clip, it's that song somewhere.
Nothing gets a bar going like Mr. Brightside.
It is such a good song.
It's unbelievable.
I'm not bad mouthing the song. I can't say I'm super familiar with it. I obviously know it, but it just seems like, it's like a generational tune for you young hoppers out there.
Yeah,
either
incredible.
way, I love that he had his Patriots jacket on, Brady in the clip. But Biz, if you had do you have a go-to song if you ever did karaoke, Biz?
No, I was thinking about like practicing one, so I was good enough. I did one at the team party one time, but it was the South Park.
You will respect my authority.
The chef. What did the chef sing?
Salty
suck
balls.
on my chocolate salted balls. Suck on, and it was just like it went too long, and everyone was like, "Shut the fuck up, Biz." But no, I don't have a go-to. Do you have a go-to, Whit?
I've said many times on this show I have a go-to. Many times I think we've discussed this. We Didn't Start the Fire by Billy Joel. Einstein, James Dean, Brooklyn's got a winning team. Davy Crockett, Peter Pan, Elvis Presley, Disneyland.
Budapest, Alabama Cruise.
I love that song. I've always loved it my whole life. Wheel of Fortune, Sally Ride, heavy metal, suicide, foreign debts, homeless vets, AIDS, crack, Bernie gets.
Hypodermics on the show. Dude, I seen that in concert, dude. I seen that tour, the Stormfront tour back in '89.
We didn't start the fire. It blows people away doing karaoke because like
you got
the words are on the screen, but it's so fast that if you don't know the words, you're gonna be embarrassed. You're gonna look like me in Sweden when I thought I could still play pro hockey, and I got absolutely crucified and I got laid out and just embarrassed. If you try doing We Didn't Start the Fire and don't know every word like myself, you're done.
Well, I was just gonna say the way that you just sang it, you've missed your calling. You should have been a rock
Birth
star.
Control, Ho Chi Minh, Richard Nixon back again, Moonshot, Woodstock, Watergate, Punt Rock, Reagan, Palestine, terror on the airline, Ayatollahs in Iran, Russians in Afghanistan. We didn't start the fire.
Holy fuck. Wow, Wet. Fucking didn't know you had it in you. You don't even have any of these smelling
I've
salts.
sang that song many a time.
Can you perform at Chicklets Cup, please?
Ooh,
yeah, but I do need for a couple of
cocktails.
A couple of the, like, what are they called in songs?
Teleprompter?
Paragraphs?
Yeah, the teleprompter. And
it needs to be karaoke. Like, because I know pretty much all of them, but I need to see them.
Yeah, be able to lean on it. Wow, that was unbelievable. Now, have you done that in a bar many a times?
Yeah, I've probably sang it like 3 or 4 times in bars and karaoke.
Wow.
Crippled all 3 or 4 times.
Grinelli, do you have a go-to?
Mine was always Build Me Up Buttercup. Don't know why. It just works for me.
Is that the song from Something About Mary?
What do you build me up?
Great
Buttercup, baby.
That
just
gets
to
the
let
bar
me
in a good
down.
mood.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it gets everyone going.
Keep going, buddy. You're buzzing.
Testing around, and then worst of all, never call, baby, when you say you do.
Say you will.
I love you still. I need you.
Need you.
More than
anybody,
darling. You know that I'll be there from the start.
I'm going to be honest, guys. I got rocks for brains, and I can't remember words to songs. It's
Here's
hard for me to memorize songs. I usually get the lyrics wrong.
Remember, I was blessing Philly with my voice, and they fucking pulled the plug on me, and I had to finish acapella.
I would say you're the worst singer on the podcast. After hearing Grinnell,
Grinnell had a good voice.
I am tone deaf with a tin ear, Biz. I will not argue.
You're deaf like a haddock, is what you always say.
Deaf as a haddock.
I'm deaf as a haddock, boy.
That's an old Boston saying. I think a duet would be good. I never did a duet. If you did like Tom Petty and Stevie Nicks, or like Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton, that could work. You need a
my neck,
duet,
my back,
pussy and my crack.
All right, boys. Hey, when you're buying a home, it can feel like you're skating on thin ice. There's 1,000 things that can go wrong, so you need a team that will help you navigate the home buying process. That's what Cross Country Mortgage is for. They have a team of loan officers dedicated to getting you the best possible loan terms available. They have an average close time of 21 days, which is ridiculously fast. They've got a wide variety of loan types, which means they've got everything to cover everyone. And we have some exciting news. They're giving away free Barstool and Cross Country Mortgage sweatshirts when you sign up to refi or get pre-approval while supplies last. So go with Cross Country Mortgage. You'll experience what it's like to skate on fresh ice. Go to ccm.com/Barstool so Cross Country Mortgage can take you through the home buying process or the refi process. Cross Country Mortgage, LLC, NMLS 3029. All loans subject to underwriting approval. www.nmlsconsumeraccess.org. All right, boys, moving right along here. The Norfolk Admirals of the East Coast Hockey League enshrined 2 new members into their Hall of Fame over the weekend. A couple of old Chicklets alumni. Sean Thornton and John Cooper got the honors. Thornton actually made it down to Norfolk for the occasion. Cooper was coaching Saturday night, so he couldn't make it, but he did send along an acceptance speech. Coop was there for 2 seasons, certainly left his mark. He won the Calder Cup in 2012 when the team was still in the AHL. They won 28 straight games under Coop. And, of course, Doherty was there for 5 seasons where he averaged about 240 PIMs per season while only averaging 63 games. So congratulations to those guys. It's a hell of an honor, and happy to see that.
Great road city. Road city. Boys always went out in Norfolk because you're staying there overnight. You're taking the sleeper bus down. Well, in most cases.
You know where I was in Norfolk, RA? You know what happened when I was in Norfolk? The Red Sox won Game 7 against the New York Yankees after being down 0-3. And we had a game the night of Game 7. And I got off the ice, say it was like, I don't remember, 9 o'clock. And they were already up. They went up early in that game, I think, right? Like, didn't Damon hit a dinger early on?
Yeah, I was on TV when he hit it.
Were you?
Not a big deal. Yeah.
And then we got to the bar pretty quick and watched the Red Sox win the pennant. That was my memorable. But the Norfolk, what was that bar? Great bar we went to.
Bar
there.
Norfolk?
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Bar Norfolk.
Who were you playing for in 2004?
The Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins.
Yeah. Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins.
It was actually sick because I think that what year was that?
2004. Yep.
Yeah, so that was the lockout year. It was awesome though. I remember we won, and then I went out. Duncan Keith was all over me in the game though. The guy used to chirp me nonstop. Turns out he'd been in the Hall of Fame. I'm running a fucking podcast. I can't even put a sentence together half the time.
But you can karaoke, baby.
I somehow managed to get back
karaoke
to Manhattan that night too, from the Bronx. That night went too.
What?
I said I managed to somehow get back to Manhattan from the Bronx that night. I was at that game when the Sox.
What do you mean? Like, how is that hard?
Oh, I mean, picture what kind of
the
shape
dumbest
I was
thing.
in.
What do you mean? You went to a fucking. You
he
went to
thinks he was
Manhattan.
supposed
I was
to get
fucking
spanked.
I was
like saying I got to Scituate after the Red Sox game.
Yeah, if you were fucking crippled, I mean, in a foreign city where your team just beat the Yankees. And
RA basically went to war, is what he's saying. He should get a Purple Heart.
RA, you were probably were you like loud, obnoxious Sox fan as they were winning, or more afraid of getting suckered, like kind of just staying quiet?
Quiet as a church mouse.
Yeah.
My buddy from Queens was like, dude, I was at Game 6. He's like, whatever you do, do not wear any logos visible. I goes, dude, I'm by myself. I'm not gonna. The only shit I had on going back to socks, I actually maybe the only logoed socks I have are Boston Red Sox logos. I won them in a Yankee swap years ago, and I never wore them, and I wore them down to
no pun intended.
7. Yeah, none intended. I actually did wear them. I would only show them to like fellow Sox fans because I don't want to get fucking carved up like a Thanksgiving turkey just to root on my Red Sox.
Whit, if you were going into enemy territory like that, as RA is describing it, laying low in the trenches, would you wear a Boston Red Sox hat? Because you said you only had socks on that you couldn't see.
Right.
Yeah, are you wearing a hat?
I had a hat, wasn't a Sox hat though.
Yeah, I think. I don't know. Yeah, is it worth some scumbag Vinny from friggin' the Bronx sucker punching you? Like, I don't know, but I'd probably be in seats where I wouldn't have to worry about that, to be honest with you.
That's all I wanted to hear. All right, we can move on.
And then, well, I was in St. Louis the next week, dude. It was like the opposite. Like, I was dressed like I was playing for the Red Sox because, like, you don't have to worry about, like, Blues fans fucking jumping you and beating the fuck out of you. Like, they literally were congratulating us in like the 7th inning of Game 4. Like, congratulations. Like,
RA's in the batter's box. He's got the full uni custom on.
Good stuff, man. What else we got here? Okay, last week saw the debut of a handful of college players, including Buffalo's #1 overall pick, Owen Power, and Seattle's first ever draft pick, Matty Beniers. He went second in that same draft. He had an assist on a Ryan Donato goal in his debut, and then he scored in his second game. I wonder if Marshawn Lynch is going to take out Matty Beniers for some donuts on the Zamboni. That clip you guys sent over, I guess Marshawn Lynch has become a part owner of the Seattle Kraken, and they let him take the Zamboni for a fucking spin. Gee, who found that video? That was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it's going viral. It's crazy. It's hilarious to see.
Him and
Marshawn Lynch has one of the funniest driving a mobile clips of all time. When he was at Cal, he grabbed like a golf cart after the game and was bombing around the football field. So maybe that was kind of a play off that, is him letting the drive to Zamboni. But then Macklemore is also a part owner. Is Macklemore one of those like super disliked artists, Biz?
No, I think he's really well liked. I think that in the rap community, he may not get the respect. I think that he felt a lot of hate when he ended up winning Rap Album of the Year over. I think he won it over
a rapper.
Kendrick. He won it, dude, not a rapper. He won it over Kendrick Lamar, and I think it was the Mad City album.
Good Kid, Mad City.
Yeah, Good Kid, Mad City, and everybody was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Because he had like 2 of those poppier beats, but
he reminds me of Shaun White.
He's navigated his career extremely well. I think he's got maybe a couple Grammys now, but he probably has bank. But I think it's good. I think they're also doing it at the right time. I mean, they had a tough year. There's a lot of things maybe where to not be happy about, but with them hopping on, you're going to have more celebrities at games. It's going to be more of a scene, and in a year that you don't have a lot to celebrate, they got a couple cool owners, and then obviously Marshawn Lynch is Marshawn Lynch, and they're probably going to have like 3 or 4 funny clips going on in the jumbotron a game with that guy in the house.
I don't know one song by Macklemore, not my cup of tea, but I think the guy can at least laugh at himself. You know the show, Dave. I know you watched it. G, you told me to watch it, though. The one Lil Dicky, and he actually came on as a guest star, and the role was like he was playing himself, but it was like totally poking fun at himself because he was playing like a little white kid's birthday party or something. So I think it was like kind of goofing on him, like that might be some of his core audience. But either way, the guy seems like he can at least like laugh at himself.
He's a golf nut too.
Pretty funny episode. Well, yeah, we got some golf coming up soon. Also, Owen Power, he got the locker room trinket from the Sabres for player of the game. In this case, it was an actual saber. I didn't realize they gave out weapons in the locker room, and he pulled that out of the sheath, and the place was going wild over it. But I didn't realize they gave out a legit fucking sword for player of the game trinket. And his 92-year-old grandmother showed up too. I included that. Like cute grandmother, she had his jersey on and stuff, showing up at the arena for his game. You gotta love that stuff. And grandparents showing up for the grandson's first game. Good stuff. All right. Congratulations to NCAA legend Jerry York. He retired after 50 years of coaching Division I hockey. He was at Clarkson and Bowling Green, and of course the last 28 at Boston College. He won 5 national championships, 4 at BC, 1 at Bowling Green. He's the winningest coach in NCAA history, and he's a member of both the Hockey Hall of Fame and the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame. He's coached 4 Hobey Baker winners, and 17 of his players were drafted in the first round. Whit, I know he wasn't your coach, you went against him, but just an absolute legend of the game, no doubt. I wanted to chime in here as a former
guy. Jack Parker, the longtime legendary coach at BU, Jerry York, same exact thing at BC. You've heard great things from him from former players. Mike Motto said a really nice thing about him on the Rink Shrinks in terms of him really caring about building character with kids, and it not just being all about the game, and it really being about what type of human beings these kids are. And I mean, I never played for him, and he never swore, which I think was hilarious, like saying friggin' and stuff like that. Like, that's just funny as hell. Guys laugh at that. But what a run, because to coach that long and then to finally call it quits is like, that's gonna leave a big hole for him, right? This is his entire life. It's like all he knows. So congrats to him on an amazing career. As much as it hates me and pains me to say, BC's, they've been the better program than BU over the last 15 years. It's upsetting to say, but that's a fact. And I hope it switches. And ironically enough, maybe, 2 of the top 5 biggest jobs in college hockey open right now. And I'd love to see David Quinn or Jay Pandolfo as the head coach of BU. I think Quinny still might want to coach in the NHL. I don't know what's going on with Pando. I'm guessing he'd have the option to take it if he wants. We'll see what happens. But then now there's going to be a bunch of big-time names going for BC's job. So a huge transition in the world of Boston hockey. But congratulations to Jerry York. I remember him from my recruiting trip where I was offered a full ride when I was a freshman in high school. Thank you very much for that. I couldn't take advantage of it, but still, go BU. BC sucks.
Had you already made your decision before going on the visit?
Yeah, pretty much. I wanted to go to BU, but you're going to go look at both, but I wanted to go to BU.
What was the main sell job? Can you remember that?
Yeah, BC? BU sold beers at the game for my dad and his friends. BC didn't.
I meant what BC proposed there that they could do more for you. Was there one thing?
Oh no, I don't even remember. I was so young, so goofy, so just potential that was never really lived up to. I just remember walking through the cafeteria being like, oh my God, they have soft serve ice cream. Fuck, that's unbelievable.
Do you get priorities? So do you get crippled and then just go home like the other guy?
No, so this was so that's an official visit. That's different. This is how I was younger then. This is right when you can just go visit on a summer day. You just go in and see the facilities. The official visit is when you stay with a player. You stay in their room with a player from the team. You go to the game and then go out with the boys after. I only did one of those because I was already committed to BU. So then you go do your official. Crippled. That's when I was throwing up in Daisy Buchanan's, and I had an afro, and they could only find me because they could see my afro through the above the stall. That was the same night I saw JR dancing up a storm when he was playing for the Coyotes. I mentioned that in his interview. So unfortunately, I kind of fucked up by committing so early. You only get one official visit, but you can do 5. So if you're going to wait, you can go get waffled at 5 different ones. But you also have to miss games for your team at the time, to go away. So it's official visits are very fun. I remember one of my buddies, he pissed off, when you're just crippled and you think you're just you're sleepwalking, you just start hosing everywhere.
Yeah, you think you're at a urinal in your dream and you're trying to force it and then finally,
and this kid just opened up the top drawer where all the dude's t-shirts was and just hosing all in it. He's like, oh, what the fuck?
How many guys that went on their 5 official visits?
Not many, because I was playing a national development program and everyone was kind of already committed, so they'd go do their 1.
RA would have been the guy going on 5 visits.
RA would have got banned from school campuses after 1 visit. He would have been a full ride athlete, and then they're like, "You can't come back here ever again."
They get you drunk and likely laid. Yeah, fuck it. Why wouldn't you? I mean, fucking. Yeah, okay. Send me to another city for the donut and get me drunk and probably laid.
I'll put it this way: I did not get lucky, and it was not the same official visit Jesus Shuttlesworth had with Rick Fox on He Got Game when he's got 2 smoke show porn stars meeting him in a bedroom. I think college basketball and football is a little different.
I wonder if there's any stories out there of when there was no camera phones or whatnot, internet, it wasn't really a thing, if any guys had sent their buddies on school visits because they had never really seen the person in person.
I think the coaches would have known the guy though. I remember the next day, so you have breakfast with the coach the next day, and Jack Parker, this is a powerful alpha male, right? I'm so nervous and I was so fucked up. And at breakfast, he's like, "What do you want?" And I had Lucky Charms, dude. I had 3 bites of them, and they know what's up, right? Because the coaches say "Hey guys, take care of them," but it was just I was holding in the puke for so long, and then finally I was just felt like RA and Minnie. But I was 18.
Genius minds. All right, moving right along here. 16-year-old Wunderkind Connor Bedard became the youngest player in WHL history to reach 50 goals. Kid ended up putting up 100 points in 62 games this season. He had 5 in the season finale, 51 goals, 49 assists for him. He had, 14 points after the first 16 games. Ended up putting up 86 points over the last 46 games. Whoever tanks for this kid, man, it looks like you're going to be getting someone special.
Come on, Coyotes.
He had 5 points in the last game to get 100.
Yeah.
That's unreal.
Yeah. 2 goals and 3 assists. Yeah, this kid's something else. Shout out to the Carolina Hurricanes for officially partnering up with the North Carolina Warriors hockey program like the Flyers do with the Philly Warriors. Definitely great to see the Canes step up and help support these guys because it's an awesome program. We got very familiar with these guys back in Philly a few months back. And, we kind of shouted out some other teams to maybe do what the Flyers have been doing. So, good on Carolina for doing that. Hopefully we see a few more teams pair up with their local Warriors squads as well because it's a great program that really helps these guys out. So kudos to the Carolina Hurricanes. Congrats to Pat Foley. He was the voice of the Chicago Blackhawks since 1980. He called his last game Thursday night, a 5-4 shootout win over the San Jose Sharks. So congrats to Pat on a great career. It was also the first time in NHL history that 2 black on-ice officials worked a game together. Referee Jordan Samuels-Thomas and linesman Shandor Alfonso worked the game, the same crew. Samuels-Thomas, it was his debut because when guys referee, as we found out earlier, they don't work the playoffs. They choose their last game and then they leave. So they obviously bring in new guys to fill those voids. So he made his debut. It was the first time since 2004 that a black official was actually a ref in the NHL. Alfonso has been in the league for 8 years. So congrats to those 2 guys on making history. Great to see. Let's see.
I played with Jordan Samuel-Thomas in Ontario.
Nice.
Yeah, great guy.
Oh, he got into reffing after playing?
So right after playing, he got into media. I think he was writing a little bit because he'd already been to university for it. And I think that given maybe the shortages of official, and he was a great player. He played at a high level. He hopped right into that and has obviously had quick success.
That's a good idea. Hey, if you're a high level junior college player right now, and you don't think you have what it takes, and maybe don't want to give it a couple years in the minors, get into reffing, and you got a good chance, dude.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was happy to hear that.
It's a tough skill. It's a tough fucking thing to do. You need such a unique skill set, to be able to be a good skater, make these calls, know the game. So again, congrats to
obviously a
those
talented guy, man.
Yeah.
I think he was writing for the Athletic, and then boom, right after went and got his course. And I want to say he hasn't been a ref more than 2 years. So, when you play at that high level, you got a lot of advantages to get there. So congrats, buddy.
Some more congrats here. Congrats to Corey Chevry. She'll be an assistant for Team Canada at the men's under-18 World Hockey Championships in Germany. She'll become the first woman to coach one of Canada's men's national teams. She was an assistant at Canada's gold medal winning women's team and on the men's team at Ryerson University, a coach at the men's team at Ryerson University. So congrats to Corey on, again, making some more history. And we got obviously some very sad news to share. I'm sure most of you folks heard earlier this week. New York Islanders legend Mike Bossy, who has the best goals per game average in NHL history at .76, died Friday from lung cancer. Number 22 for the Islanders, won 4 straight cups, as well as a Calder Trophy, a Conn Smythe, 3 Lady Binks, was elected to the Hockey Hall of Fame in 1991. He had 9 straight seasons with at least 50 goals, averaged 57 goals per season. Never scored fewer than 38. His .65 goals per playoff game, second only to Mario Lemieux in the modern era. And he had 17 playoff goals in 81, 82, and 83. Nobody else had even 3 straight years of at least 13 goals in the playoffs, never mind 17. And not to mention, this guy is a wonderful person, beloved by all his teammates, everybody who know him. And once again, Spittin Chiclets wants to sincerely apologize for the erroneous social media post from a couple weeks ago. It was simply a case of bad intel. We weren't trying to break any story. We got some bad information, and we're sorry. We're heartfelt apologies for any grief we may have caused anybody. It's obviously a shitty situation to have that. So we're terribly sorry to anybody that was troubled by it. And again, our deepest condolences to family, friends of Mike Bossy, as well as the entire Islanders family. I know it's been a rough year for you. And
folks, I was blown away by when I looked up Bossy's stats. Like, he only played till he was 30 years old. So with the bad back, he wasn't able to do it. But those numbers and not even getting to 32 or 33, just what an incredible player. And, for him and Clark Gillies to be gone now, it's just been such a tough year for the Islanders family. And like R.A. said that perfectly, we apologize for that mistake. And we're thinking of Mike Bossy's family. So God bless.
Well said, Whit. All right, moving to the non-hockey portion of the program. Jordan Spieth overcame a 3-stroke deficit as well as a blown gimme on Saturday that turned a birdie into a bogey, and he beat Patrick Cantlay in a playoff to take home the RBC Heritage Sunday down in Hilton Head, South Carolina. He was 50-1 before the tournament started, and I had a little taste on him.
What?
He was 50-1 before the tournament started. Yeah, because I was a winner.
He got him.
I had him, dude. I tailed my buddy, dude.
Spieth was 50-1 to win that tournament.
50-1 before the tournament. Yep. And
wow, I guess he did miss the cut at the Masters, and he said that missing the cut at the Masters was the lowest he's ever felt as a golfer. He said it was the worst feeling he's ever had, and I think with all the success he's had there, even though he's only won 1, it feels like he's won 2 or 3. And he went into, wow, I cannot believe he would. I actually took Morikawa. He was 17-1, which I thought was ridiculous. But Spieth is like he is. It's really hard not to root for him. And I know my late good friend Mike Riley, God bless him. He didn't like Spieth. He didn't like how he was always talking and always chatting with his caddy and kind of always complaining on bad shots and very
animated.
Very animated. I kind of love it because you get inside the mind. And I don't know if our buddies at Foreplay have had him on, but another golf podcast I listened to, No Laying Up, they've had Spieth on a couple times. Fascinating listen, because he talks about he's had 3 different swing feels throughout his career. He had one when he was younger, and he's gone back to it. He's had another one at one section of his college career, early pro. And you see now he's got this pre-shot kind of ritual where it looks bizarre. He's bringing it and trying to bring the club over the top. It's confusing golf speak, but he's definitely a wild thinker, and he's now, I think, has 13 wins. He's got 3 majors, and to have the lowest moment of your golf career followed by a Saturday missed 1-foot putt that really could derail most golfers, like just a total brain fart. He's standing on 1 foot. He's not getting ready and getting set and going through his routine. He's trying to knock it in. He misses it, and then comes back, gets it to a playoff, and gets in a beautiful up and down onto the bunker against Cantlay, who had a plugged lie, which was unfortunate. But Jordan Spieth, I love the guy. Morikawa is my favorite pro golfer. Spieth's probably number 2, but amazing that he was 50-1. Congrats already. That's a great hit.
Thanks, pal. Yeah, like I said, I wasn't even my pick. A buddy of mine, I tailed him, so I'm glad I did, man. 50-1. That's obviously a nice pop. Let's see. Also, before we move along, did you see that clip I sent you guys of Spieth coming out before he knew it was going to be a playoff? There was all these little kids there, and he's like, "Guys, wait here." He goes, "I promise I'll be back. I got to wait and see what happens." And of course, it went to a playoff. He won the tournament, and 2 hours later, as a man of his word, he came back. All those kids waited. He signed all their autographs, took their pictures, and I don't know. It's just good to see because it's a sport that probably has a bit of a snobby reputation maybe at times. So to know one of the stars of the game come over and met with all these little kids after he promised them it was a pretty cool clip, man. Check it out if you haven't seen it. And we're also getting a big golf match June 1st. Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers taking on Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes at the Wynn Las Vegas. How's that going to play? What style are they playing there? The 2-on-2.
All right, not a big Rodgers fan. I heard you make a little at the end of his name there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not the new on this show. I don't know. I think we've gone over him before. He's just big me guy. He's won one Super Bowl. Probably shouldn't even be on the same course with the guy who's won 7. But anyways, go ahead, Whit.
I think it'll be best ball. It'll be like they've had these matches. I think it's a TNT broadcast, and they do 12 holes instead of 18, and they play if Brady gets a 4 and Rodgers gets a 5, it would be Brady's score versus whatever the best score between Allen and Mahomes is. Mahomes, terrible voice. Oh, he's Kermit the Frog. I don't really look forward to listening to him talk on that, but I do want to see Josh Allen. Big Josh Allen fan, and Mahomes is a sick athlete, so he's probably a good golfer, but I'll tune into that. I always end up watching some of those. They take forever. They're like 4 or 5 hours.
They're a long time.
Holes, so I'll definitely be in watching part of it.
Apparently, some other Tom Brady stuff. Apparently, this story has been going around. He was going to sign with Miami, maybe get a piece of the team, and then bring in Sean Payton to coach. That was the whole plan. And then all of a sudden, the Brian Flores lawsuit against the NFL about the sham hiring interviews happened, and that kind of torpedoed everything. But is it true? What you think this was legit going to happen? It seems to be like some truth to it.
I definitely think it's true. I'm not going to say who I heard it from, but this person 1,000% knows, and that was exactly what was going to happen. And once that Flores lawsuit went down, they just everything went haywire, and they had to change. And that's why Brady probably didn't originally retire. He was just going to leave the Bucs and figure out a way to become a Miami Dolphin. And as a Pats fan and a Tom Brady fan, it's like I'm very happy that didn't go down. RA. Watching him play for the Bucs is one thing. Watching him in the teal playing for the Dolphins would have been just such a gigantic kick in the nutsack. So I'm happy that he's not there, but that would have been interesting. Now, man, Peyton's taking a year off. He'll probably sign a huge ticket the year after and coach whoever he wants.
Yeah, I don't think he gets along with Arians too well. I mean, he basically retired.
I was shocked to hear that. So they were kind of doing the tummy stick social media exchange where it had nothing to do with Brady, I guess, and more of like handing that over. But do you think that was just a big PR move? And what were they butting heads about? Was it about the AB situation?
So I think Brady, from what I've seen and read, is as much as he didn't miss the Belichick kind of being, I guess, a hard ass in a way. I think he did miss Belichick's work ethic. And I think Arians was kind of in late, out early from what I've heard or read. And Brady really didn't think that his work ethic matched up to his. And probably was I don't know about this guy. Now, maybe that's completely unfair.
He's not sleeping in a cot at the field, so he's got to go.
Not the father who doesn't see his kids that coaches in the NFL.
Just from reading Jerry Thornton, Patriots guy at Barstool Biz, it sounds also too basically Brady kind of shifted the offense to the style he knew. Whatever the style it's called. I don't know whatever the fucking name of it is, but Bruce Arians was trying to act like it was all his doing. Like he basically was trying to take credit for it. I guess these two all had a lot of pissing matches behind the scenes. So, you get involved with egos and all that shit.
But I also find it fascinating and highly likely that they would have given him a piece of the team. And I'm curious if this kind of changes things moving forward to where, maybe if you get another Patrick Mahomes and people would also argue maybe in the big moments right now, he's not coming through as if Brady was. But if you do get another quarterback that does have the same start that Brady did, where every chance he's getting, he is winning a championship, where the deal that he ends up signing would be for part ownership of the team. Now, that I think you kind of saw it with the way that the cap went up with Russell Wilson breaking a barrier in that regard. But it kind of just, I mean, given the fact that there probably is some truth to this, I think it's going to change things moving forward.
Possibly. Now, who's the scumbag who ran the NHLPA that went to jail already?
Alan Eagleson.
Without Alan Eagleson, if it wasn't for Alan Eagleson, Bobby Orr would be a part owner of the Boston Bruins. He was offered a stake of the Bruins, and Eagleson didn't even fucking tell him. That's how he ended a Chicago Blackhawk. So that's happened before. I wonder if it's technically like legal in the NHL with the salary cap. Could you even do that? Because what if you're like, hey, McDavid, we're going to give you $6 million a year, but you're going to get 3% of this team. Like, I don't even know if that would be allowed, but that's a great question, Biz.
Yeah, that is. I didn't even want to go there because I'm fucking Boston still scarred by that fucking scumbag Eagleson. But yeah, that's an interesting point. Like, how would that go with cap wise, and would that be even legal in these days? Well, I
guess we can't spoil the interview coming up. We got Gretzky next week, guys. Ooh. We haven't mentioned that either. So a pretty good back to back with Tocchet and Gretzky, but we'll get into the whole ownership of teams and stuff like that with him.
And we got all right, boys. One more thing before we wrap up. We got a little trivia battle coming up. We're gonna be appearing on the Dozen Trivia once again. We'll be tweeting it out from Biz
and I suck at this game. RA, sometimes you're good, sometimes you kind of suck. So I think we're huge under. All right.
Sometimes I think.
All right.
I first off, I was going to say you guys actually impressed me a couple of these games where I didn't think you was going to be that good. So okay,
but now we're not getting a compliment because of Whit.
I know he takes it back.
No, I think.
All right, you've had some great games, but a couple times you were struggling. But you have been solid sometimes. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring you down before the game.
Hey, we talked about being a good teammate earlier on the golf course, and see what I'm seeing. All right.
But no,
I guess the true colors really do come out.
The first game me and Biz did, I was on vacation, waffled up in Vermont, and fucking we went on a heater though. We ended up smoking Brandon Walker, who I believe we're playing. But anyways, listen, boys, gear grinding. What grinded my gears lately? This isn't anything unusual. I don't drive too often. I live in the city. I work from home. I don't even own a car anymore, but I do drive on occasion, and fucking. It's so bad in the last 10, 20 years, dude. Nobody puts their fucking blinkers on anymore, dude. It drives me fucking so crazy. It's dangerous as fuck. First off, when someone just turns out of the blue, the reason you do it is safety. Also to give people a heads up, keep the flow of traffic. The worst is when people get to that turn and then they fucking put their blinker on as they're turning. Drives me fucking bananas. Or when you just drift into another lane. I actually love punching my horn or just pressing the horn, leaning on it.
You're a horn guy?
Oh, dude, how
that grinds my gears.
How are you not a horn guy if you live in Boston, dude?
We got
a double grind my gears segment.
Dude, you need to rely on your horn driving in the city, especially nowadays, man.
I am on Team Wit in a sense of if you're a horn layer, especially in NYC, it just I get I get all tensed up.
If somebody's coming into your lane, horn. But if
I agree with
the people who the light turns green and in 2 seconds they lay on the horn to go, that person's a scumbag. Do you do that, RA?
You know what? I used to not, but now that everybody, if you're in a line, say a car line with 10 cars, you can guarantee that at least one fucking moron in one of those cars is on his fucking phone. So I used to not. Now I give it a 1, 2, 3, and if no one moves, get off your fucking phone. The light's green. Let's go.
RA's got a stopwatch as soon as it turns. Fuck, he just can't.
Yeah, because pre-programmed the stopwatch that when it goes off, it actually makes the horn in his car go off, so he doesn't have to waste energy of punching the steering wheel.
Without fucking fail, dude. But the blinking, dude, drives me fucking bananas, dude. Because again, it's not a voluntary thing. It's it takes 2 seconds. It's just fucking do it, man.
So if somebody in front of you, no blinker turn, they get a horn automatic.
Oh God, they fucking at least a good 6-7 seconds easy. I leave it on. I'm a quarter mile away, and I'm still getting the fucking thing. Yeah.
I would fucking.
You hold the horn down for that long,
so they know it's for them. So they fucking know. There's no doubt what it's about.
By the way, this is a guy who's afraid of getting stabbed by someone who throws a hot dog on the ice. What do you think is going to happen if you hold the horn down for 7 seconds to the wrong individual?
Dude, I'm in a car, dude. I'll fucking good luck chasing me. I'll fucking just drive to a police station, get out of the car. Come get me now, bitch.
6 or 7 seconds. I wouldn't honk. The guy could be crushing my old lady on the fucking sidewalk. right in the crosswalk, and I wouldn't honk that.
You're
long.
only going 3 seconds.
I'm going 3, just how long I last.
And the other thing too is when you're on the highway and people in the fucking left lane. If you're in the left lane, you better be the pace guy. Like, don't be in the fucking left lane on Route 93 going fucking 55 miles an hour, 65 because that's the speed limit. No, you're the fucking pace guy. That's the passing lane.
All right.
Fucking someone's in your rearview mirror, like, and you can see their tonsils. Get the fuck out of the way and get in the middle lane. Hey. That's for the fucking slow people.
All right, we're going to get you in touch with my breathing guy before you go for these drives, okay, buddy? We don't need you taking a fucking a shank to the neck.
So that's what grinds my gears this week, boys. Any final notes before we go kick some ass in trivia or what?
Great grind my gears. Round of applause.
I'm gonna not use a blinker for the next 3 days.
It's not generic.
And hopefully see you on the street.
That is not generic. We found out you honk the horn for 6 to 7 seconds, probably 50 times every time you get in the car.
Yeah, gotta get.
All right, boys. We got some other special news for you next week with the Gretzky episode as well. So, folks, as always, we love you all. Thank you so much for listening. I saw a couple people in Naples that recognize me, that are big listeners of the show. It's so nice to meet people that like this show. It is the best feeling in the world when you meet somebody who listens to us four idiots kind of yuck it up and talk nonsense. So love you all, and we'll talk to you next week.
And the last thing here, the bottle signing in Atlanta. I'm pulling up the address right now. It is on the 23rd, April 23rd, starting at 5 p.m. local time. So that's Eastern time. Buckhead location. It's 2161 Piedmont Road in Atlanta, Georgia. Is that right? Piedmont?
Piedmont.
Fuck.
That's all right. Biz.
Piedmont. 2161 Piedmont Road in Buckhead location, Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you very much. That's all I got. Pink Whitney. We'll see you there.
Peace.